Mike Schneider podcast.
Welcome to episode number Stefan. So today we are joined by Stefan Lundberg from Devise fingerboards. He's a fingerboarder since about 2002, so about as long as me, and he's had his company since 2012. You also might know him from his fingerboard events at Skater's Edge in Rhode Island. Is it in Rhode Island or Massachusetts?
Massachusetts.
Near Rhode Island in Massachusetts. Yeah, and the internet in California and all kinds of stuff like that. So we're going to dive in and learn more.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Super stoked. So let's start at the very beginning. Tell us about your birth. What's your zodiac?
I'm a Capricorn. I was born in January. I'm 29 years old. But I found my first fingerboard in about 2001 or 2 maybe. But
that's too early. What about when you were born? Where were you born?
I was born in Stoughton, Massachusetts, actually. I grew up in Easton for the first 5 years of my life. I don't really remember too much of that. But then I lived in Taunton for a while after that, and then moved to Lakeville later on.
Cool. See, I didn't even know that, actually.
Yeah, so I kind of lived all over Massachusetts for my first 18 years.
Sweet. All right, so yeah, take us through the journey of just a quick, what was it like growing up, and then at what point did you find skateboarding or fingerboarding, and how did that kind of tie into the rest of your childhood?
Growing up, kind of just normal interests, I feel like, too. I liked baseball a little bit too. I like just kind of being active, swimming, and
wow, that is normal.
Yeah. But other than that, I found a skateboard when I was about 5 years old, and
wow,
so
that's young.
I found it very early on. It was going into first grade. I got my first skateboard. It was a Star Wars board. It was just something about it. It was just really exciting to me. The interest level I found from that was because of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I was just at the mall one day buying video games with my dad, just trying to find something new for the PlayStation or PS1 pretty much. But we found Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and I just thought it was really awesome and cool. And then I wanted a board, and I just got one, just started riding around on my butt around the neighborhood, and eventually my dad was like, "You gotta learn how to stand up on that and ride, etc." And yeah, I just enjoyed it a lot. I did it by myself for a long time. I didn't have friends that did it until almost 5 years later or so. So it was just kind of a natural thing where I really enjoyed it. I wanted to do more of it, and then kind of shortly after I started finding tech decks. I don't really know when it happened, but I remember looking through an old home movie where I was playing with a tech deck, and I saw on the time frame it said 2002, and
cool.
I was like, oh wow. I'm okay, so that's when I had one. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, like a lot of people, you saw Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and then got stoked on it and then picked up a real board. And so you were in Massachusetts, and I guess you were just kind of playing around with it basically for the first, let's say, 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And then, so you got a tech deck, and then where did it go from there?
I kind of didn't really do much more with fingerboarding until closer to high school when I discovered wooden boards. So in between then, I feel I was just enjoying skateboarding a lot. I found Skater's Edge, that local indoor skate park, in 2003. So from there, that's when I started meeting friends, where the first people I actually met there that were my friends, I found out used to live in my neighborhood, and they just moved out a month before I moved in, so that kind of sucked. But
whoa,
I still had a great friendship with them, and they showed me street skating and everything too, so then that kind of changed my life too. I got to learn park skating, what it's like to skate with friends who push you to try new things and explore new ideas in skateboarding too, and then introducing me to street skateboarding and then filming for that, and then that's just something I've just continuously held on to for the rest of my life. Just skating, filming, hanging out with friends, having fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's definitely a really special thing when you have people you can skate with that push you and you push them, and you kind of get more of your potential out that way compared to doing it yourself. You kind of stay in your comfort zone, or you might be a little creative, but when you're with people and they kind of see you almost land something and you felt like you didn't really, and you were going to go off and try something else, and they're like, no, you almost got that, go land that, and then you land it. And I love that kind of dynamic with skating or fingerboarding with people.
Totally, and I feel like that's just helps increase like the longevity of everything, like your love for it, and then just like your friendships you have with all those people that you continuously meet. Like, just a really great thing all around.
Yeah, definitely. The whole social and community aspect is like super, like it keeps it going, keeps it progressing and everything, staying interesting. Cool. So you're skating at the park and starting to skate street and stuff, and then you mentioned finding wood boards around that time too, fingerboards.
Yeah, it was actually that park again, Skater's Edge in Taunton, where one of my friends from there, he brought a G12 one day. It was like a two-tone, not like, or like two-tone like color. It was like the dark blue and light blue like kind of fade together.
Oh, cool.
But he had that. It was probably about like 28 millimeters, but it had rip tape on it too. So then I just tried like the Tech like wooden boards and kind of noticed they performed a little bit differently. And then I saw like your board, and with the rip tape on it combines like how you could like control your flicks more with it too. Like I was like instantly hooked. I was like, I need these like immediately. Just because I love playing with Tech so much, and like the fact that you could actually control everything a lot easier, just like, I don't know, it was just mind blowing to me. So
Yeah.
that just made me like immediately, like from Christmas from there on, I'm like, I only just want a wooden fingerboard for Christmas. Like that's it. Like like I need to find a way to get this.
Cool. So then, yeah, what happened after that? You got one and then you got super into it and
Yeah, I bought a couple of cheap ones off eBay, and then eventually I convinced my mom, like, I'm like, I really want to get like one of these like flat face boards. She's like, I don't know, they're like, it's a lot of money for like just for this, for like a tech thing. And then eventually I made the points where I'm like, but like these are like handcrafted, like they're making these like by hand out of wood. And she's like, oh really? She's like, okay, like you can buy one, like okay. So then I got one of those and just kind of noticed the performance level is just like just way better than the ones I found before. So I like those a lot. Then there was one day too where kind of digging more into the community, like finding friends on YouTube and stuff. I did a trade with somebody, and he traded me. I forget what the trade was for. Maybe it was like a yellow wood or something, but he gave me an extra of 5 sheets of veneer to make a board.
oh,
So that
cool.
like was what sparked everything, I feel like too. So I was like, okay, like I want to try making a board. I got some wood glue. I took like 2 tech decks, like the usual way to kind of like make something. Take 2 tech decks, heat them up, fix the shape to it, get some clamps, put it together, and I literally like cut it all out like with scissors. It was like pretty like thin, but like it still was good. Like I actually have it here too.
Oh, sweet. Your first board ever.
Yeah, I kept it. I
Let's
probably
see
used
it.
like maybe some grip tape or something to sand it after, but yeah. So this is literally just molded from a couple tech decks.
Nice. Got the mahogany wood.
Is it mahogany? I was always curious like what that wood
Yeah.
was. I just know I just got like a bunch of like exotics.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. The sides are like a little crunchy in there.
Oh yeah. But what
That's
stood out
sick.
the
It's
most
not
to
bad.
me is like how I could take a few pieces of wood, glue it together, and when it hardened, like the stability that came from it, like it actually like popped, like it was more responsive than a tech deck, and like
Yeah, it's crazy.
it was literally just like pieces of thin wood that you could have just like snapped, but the glue held it all together.
Yeah, I always thought that was mind blowing. I still do. Like
Yeah.
the fact that you can just glue plies together, bend it, hold it there a few hours, and then it becomes a strong piece of bent wood.
Yeah.
And keeps it for decades now.
Totally, yeah, that's insane.
It is really crazy. Like it barely makes sense.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about. Yeah. So cool. So basically, you started making boards. You met fingerboarders on YouTube and stuff like that, and you're shredding on a skateboard at the same time,
Yeah.
and probably starting to get pretty good at fingerboarding.
I almost think we were going backwards for a second too. Before, like finding those boards and everything too, I found videos on YouTube of John Cowart and your videos too. But those videos like inspired me a lot too, where I saw like John's videos first of like the basement montages and thinking
Oh,
of
those
Scott's
are
basement.
so good.
But just like seeing them like do realistic tricks, like having fun with each other, like we were talking about earlier, and like putting like funny songs to it, like they did like Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Polka Dot Bikini and stuff like that. Like that was just like very like inspiring to me. As like weird as it sounds, but I was like, wow, like these guys are just having so much fun. Like I want to find a way to do this like with my friends and like film like creative fingerboard tricks like on film and everything, because we're already filming skateboarding together. So I'm like, why don't we just film like fingerboarding too? Like
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. So then you started making videos too?
Yeah.
Sick. Are your old ones still up?
Yeah, almost all of them. I feel like I probably deleted like some stuff over the years, like everybody else does when they get self-conscious of their old clips of how sketchy everything looks and whatnot too. But I was digging through recently and I was looking at a lot of my old stuff, and yeah, this stuff that goes back like up to like 13 years.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
All right, we'll put a link to that in the description. You guys can check them out. I'm definitely going to check them out after this.
Yeah.
We'll watch them together. Cool. What were you filming on back then?
I think by the time I was doing like professional like wooden fingerboard stuff, I had a VX at the time, which my first one was a VX 2000.
Nice.
So it was pretty cool too, because like it's almost like how like we're all filming like tapeless now in the VX. Like I was doing that, but I was just connecting it through FireWire to like my iMovie on my Mac Mini. So I was just filming on there, so I wouldn't have to waste tape, and I could try stuff as long as it would take me, and not have to like burn all my mini DV tapes, and so I could save those for skating outside.
Cool. So like the live capture thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sweet. So your first videos are probably pretty good quality already.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Like my first videos are like, my first camera was called a Digital Blue, and it was like a vertical, like rounded stick with like a lens on the front. It was so goofy, and you hold it like this, and it's like a handle, and then the lens, and like my old videos are like super low quality with that thing. But that
I had something similar to that at one point I would mess around with.
Whoa, cool.
I did film a really old like tech deck video like before like real fingerboarding stuff. I think maybe that was like 2006, but I used like a Kodak digital camera, like video setting, and then just kind of filmed a bunch of stuff in my kitchen and outside and whatnot, and just put it together in Windows Movie Maker.
Yeah, nice. Good old Windows Movie Maker.
Yeah.
I had that one too. But before that, I had Digital Blue Video Editor.
Man, I don't think I ever experimented with that one.
Yeah, it came with the like camera on a stick thing.
Now I'm getting like throwback to like thinking about Windows Movie Maker like .wmv files.
Yes.
Like
Oh yeah, those were the days.
Yeah.
So when did you get like on FFI or any fingerboard communities online?
FFI, I think that was probably 2011-ish. I know like FFI was starting to kind of like die out, but like I got in right before that time frame. There was like a time point like when I was first observing on FFI, it was like hard to get in. You had to get somebody to approve you to get in, and I'm embarrassed to say I honestly forget who helped me get into FFI, but I remember either getting in through there or maybe I got in like right when there was like open registration they did for a little bit too. But yeah, I remember like a lot of people were kind of scared when open registration came in. It's like, oh, these like random people come in and this and that. Like, well, some people were good like me. Like, I feel like I'm a positive influencer of the scene still, so there was good things that came from that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been more good than bad. Like on the forums, it was, if you let in, let's say 100 people, maybe like 2 of them get banned or something. Like it's overall everybody's cool. It's like once in a while you have like annoying people or something.
Yeah, they'll shun themselves out by being too annoying or scamming someone for a trade or something like that.
Yeah, I remember there was like a buy, sell, and trade area, and like you had to have like good reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. What do kids do now? Just get scammed on IG or something?
Pretty much.
Dang.
I feel like that, yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, the forums were good.
Yeah, but there's a lot of good information in there too. I learned a lot about deck making in that process too, because there wasn't too many like YouTube tutorials on people doing deck making and stuff like that. So that's where I learned a lot about like thicknesses of woods and like what glues to use, and a lot of people kind of kept secrets. So like it was kind of good to like learn about a wide variety of things, try all of them, see what I liked best, and kind of continue that way.
Yeah. Take us through your deck making journey, because now Devise is like a known company. It's pretty big. People order from all over the world.
And it's crazy to think. But so it started, I started deck making in 2011. I like officially made the brand name Devise in 2012, and it was just very, very small to begin with. I never expected it to kind of be what it is today, but essentially I was just trying to like find a way to make professional quality fingerboards like for myself and my friends, because boards can be like pretty expensive, especially when you're younger too. So I thought it was a good way for me to express my creativity, make myself boards that like I thought of and could just make it in the moment, and it would be good quality. Then I could also share them with my friends too, so they don't have to like break the bank trying to get into that. I can be like, here, like try this, like, and I can like create like my own like community of friends like nearby that fingerboard.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I heard it took you over a year reading the thesaurus to get the name Devise.
Yeah, I'm a very big like overthinker on things. I guess you could say it's like one of my weaknesses too. But yeah, it must have been like close to a year. But like I wanted to do the name Create Fingerboards, but I know there was like something called like Creation Skateboards at the time, I think, or I don't know, just
Sounds
seems kind of
familiar.
vague. Yeah.
Something like that.
But I felt like if this ever turned into anything, maybe I would want it to be something different. So I literally was just like trying to come up with a different name. And I'm like, what if I took the name Create, like put in a thesaurus, and then see what came from it. I had a bunch of these ideas, and I'm like, oh, devise. And then definition is like to create from the existing. I'm like, this one could work. Like, because with my company, Devise, I liked it to be like to create from the existing. So like what I was inspired by at the time, some of my favorite boards are like either like G12s, G13s, and Berlin Woods. I liked them both a lot too, so I wanted something that had kind of like a little bit of a concave, maybe like a little bit more than like a G12, and then higher kicks and like a Berlin Wood too. So kind of just like taking my favorite things and putting it together. So like creating something from the existing that I like that I could add and share to the market to show what I like as a fingerboarder.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's the best way to do it. Like all the best companies that last, it's because they made something, they wanted to make the best thing like for them. Like that's how I do it. I'm like, I want to make the board that performs the best for me. And like, you know, somebody else will probably like it too, if that's the case. And then, so it's the same thing. Like you saw like, okay, I like this about this and this about this, and here's what I want to change about both and put it together. And you created a board that like works really good and has lasted the test of time, you could say.
Totally.
And you use them, you know. If you're the person making the boards and you're also the one riding them, means that like they're good, you know. You're not just making boards for someone else, you're making boards to use for you and for your friends and stuff, like making it as good as it can be and everything.
Totally. I have some of the first decks I made too. We just went over the like very first one I made out of there.
Yeah, what else you got?
Let's see, little timeline here. After I made this one, this one was like concrete molds I bought off eBay.
Concrete?
So, like, I went on eBay. Yeah, it had like it looked like a real skateboard mold, like rectangular, made out of concrete. It had like a wood top glued on top of it and base, so it wouldn't crack the concrete in the molds.
Did it crack eventually?
I don't think so.
Oh, cool.
I think I wound up selling it back on eBay. But
Oh,
I really wish I had it to see it.
That's cool. That's like super handmade, like roundy shape. I don't know.
Maybe we could like post a picture of all of them on Instagram after or something.
Yeah,
Do a
we can
little collage.
overlay it on the video too.
Yeah.
That's sick. Looks pretty good.
Yeah.
The craftsmanship too. It's like
actually,
it's very lacquered for that time period.
Yeah. Then I made a Bondo mold after in here. So that one was kind of based off that concrete mold. And
Yeah,
then,
it's similar.
Yeah.
But a little bit better.
But this time I made it out of Bondo myself, but the mold wasn't as wide as the concrete one. So like I was having like a lot of like, I don't know, it was like slightly like warped at times, and it kind of annoyed me. So then I was like, I really should find a way to like get a metal mold. So then I wound up eventually ordering one of the NFB molds from Jim at NFB, and just because I was tired of like inconsistencies. Like I'm a perfectionist, I want to make sure they're good for there. So then I wound up getting one of those. I'm pretty sure that one should be it too. It's just the standard like classic shape. Cool. Which I still have to this day too. I still have that same mold that I bought in like late 2011.
Wow, sick. So did you customize the dimensions on that a little bit? And
Yeah.
Stuff? Yeah.
Like molds back then too, they only went up to 32 millimeters in width because that was like the widest at that point. Like they weren't even doing 33s yet. Crazy. Until like Berlin Wood finally released like their 33 flat shape. And this one was when I made the regular mold. So I liked the classic mold that I made, but this is like the one I use to this day. And
this is
the
Devise.
one that you like the best, yeah.
Like modern.
Because like, I really liked my classic mold, but I'm like, I don't love it though. So I'm like, what can I do more to it? So like I adjusted the kicks a little bit, and I think I added like a little bit of concave to the nose and the tail too from the previous one.
Yeah.
And then after I tested that one, and it was just like so much more springy and responsive, and I'm like, oh my god, like this is the shape right here. Like this is Devise.
Yep.
So
definitely. They're really good.
Like in 2013 maybe. This was like part of the first graphic line that we released on your site. The pink one up top. But then I started making crayon cruisers a couple of years later too. I just had an idea that I wanted to do a cruiser, and I'm like, oh, this would be funny if it was like a crayon shaped, and like I could even just put a graphic on it too, like that.
That's awesome.
And then we jump into modern day Devise, where these are mostly all the regular molds, and then I think one might be my new revised mold, which is pretty similar to the regular. The revised mold is pretty
Sick.
much just a slightly longer wheelbase. The tail's like 1 degree lower, a little bit more concave, but the dips aren't as defined.
Looks so good.
Oh
Yeah, your boards have a very distinct style, and they're really good. I have a few of them set up. I just set up one of these.
Oh yeah, the Alex Rogan Pro model.
Yeah, so sick.
Yeah, quick shout out to my team, Alex Mistulakis, Alex Hancock, Alex Rogan, and we have John from Dank Mode in Colorado. Oh, and we can't forget Alex Garcia as well too.
And why do you sponsor everyone named Alex?
It's 4 Alexes now.
4 Alexes and
yeah.
like what, 2 other people? 3?
Yeah. Oh no, just one other. It's like me, Alex's, and John.
So when are you changing your name to Alex?
I almost thought about it at one point, but I'm like, I'm just stuck in it now.
That's crazy.
I have this graphic I haven't released yet too, but I have it already printed. I just haven't made samples of it yet, but it literally just says Alex across it. And I'm like, it's like the Alex Pro model.
Dude, that's great.
It's like, here's your new Pro model.
Yeah, for everyone.
Who's it for? It's for Alex. Yeah.
Whoa, that's so cool. Dang.
And then I used to have rest in peace to Alan Agudelo, but he used to ride for me too, but he passed away a little under 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was sad.
But he also started with an A too. It's like at one point it was just all people with the letter A.
Wow.
But now we're getting some more diversity by adding John into the team. Different letters.
Yeah, what made you decide to sponsor someone who wasn't named Alex? That's a big risk at this point.
Well, Alan was the first one for that, but it was just his style. Like, he just seemed like kind of very underrated, like very positive person, just great energy, just very tech too. And he was riding for Homewood at the time, and they weren't really doing too much with him too. And I was just being his friend, and he was interested in trying my boards. And then our friendship just kind of just started overpowering the friendship that he had with Homewood, so he just jumped over to my team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cool. What do you think about when you're sponsoring someone in general? Like,
it's more so of like a friendship, because like I don't want to have too many people on the team that like I forget about people or whatnot too, or I don't know, because I am just a small company too, but it's very kind of like family based in a sense too. Like I want to have like a close relationship with all my team and making sure that like if someone needs a board, I'm able to get it to them like pretty quickly, and I don't have to kind of like lag or anything or whatnot too. I just don't want to have like 30 people on my team and me being this small like part-time-ish company and being like I can't keep up with my demands, and then it might just collapse.
Yeah, that's very good thinking for sure. And it's super good to have like people who you get along with and stuff, like friends on your team rather than just like random people. Like even though the flat face team is huge, it's very similar. Like there's like 2 people on that I haven't met, or maybe 3 now, but almost everybody I've met in person and I know them, and like most of them I've known for super long. And it's just like they're gonna represent your brand, so you better like enjoy most of the things that they do and say.
Totally. Yeah, it's a pretty big
cool.
commitment. And then obviously the larger your company is, the more people you can afford to have on, because you're like moving more inventory, you have more products to advertise, etc.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it gets to be a lot having a big team, so you're smart for keeping it small.
Yeah, but if it keeps
crazy.
growing, I'm just going to have to keep adding more people, so we'll see.
Yeah, that's cool. So let's change it up a little bit. You mentioned earlier one of your biggest weaknesses is overthinking. Mm-hmm. What's up with that?
It could be because I have ADHD too, so my mind's always like racing, like my foot's like always like shaking and stuff. I'm always thinking about the next idea, and it can kind of cause a lot of anxiety at times too. Which
So you're hyped. You're too hyped.
Yeah, always too hyped on life.
That's a good problem to have. Well,
it can be,
it
but
can
sometimes
be.
when you overthink, you keep thinking about the negatives too much, and then it starts to get into your head. But then you got to remember, like, I'm thinking too far ahead. I just need to take a step backwards and remember to control your controllables. And there's some situations and things that can't be controlled, and you got to remember, like, just let them be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Do you find that it's getting easier as you get older, like to handle that, to not overthink so much, or is it kind of just the same?
To an extent, but it's also harder too, because like the older you get, the more responsibilities you put yourself into, and it's like the more pressure you get put under, I would say. But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a part of growing up. I feel like anyone is going to face those challenges as you get older too.
Yeah, totally. It's like as you get new responsibilities and new things to worry about or handle or whatever, it's like you kind of have to like integrate them. Like first it's like a challenge and then it becomes like, okay, it wasn't as bad as I thought, I can do this. And then it's like once you kind of get in the rhythm of things, it's like, all right, now I don't have to overthink that thing anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like whenever things are new, at least for me, it's like at first it like feels like a lot and then it's like not that bad.
Totally.
Now we all know your biggest weakness. What's your biggest strength?
That I care too much, or I don't know. That's just a very generic answer. I'd say I'm just very creative and positive. I always try to make sure people are happy. Like for my job, I work at Vans. I'm an assistant store manager, so I'm always trying to make sure that like my team like feels like comfortable in the environment they're in and that they're feeling their best, so they're able to like speak to our products like comfortably, just to be able to like make good sales, but also to make sure that like everything's like going natural, like they're feeling okay, the customer feels okay, etc. But yeah, I always just like to try to make sure that people are feeling okay, and I always also feel like I'm a pretty like creative person as well too, like from like creating this brand as well too, just kind of come up with ideas. But yeah, just making fingerboards is just a great way to express my creativity, and just I don't know, it's a good way to like kill time as well too, like when you're not working and not skating, or if you're too sore from skating, or if it's snowing outside, like when I was growing up out here, fingerboarding's great for that.
Yeah, definitely. That's really cool. Like everything you just said is awesome. I mean, there's a lot we could go into. Creativity is a given. Like every time you're here, we're always, like you said, designing new stickers and who knows, like thinking of random ideas and just doing them immediately.
Yeah,
and
the next board graphics to come out, the next collabs, or
yeah. Your work ethic is really amazing too. Like I think that's an example that I want the listeners to pay attention to, for real, because like I don't know, a lot of people go to their job and they don't have that mindset. They have a mindset where it's just like, all right, I got to do the bare minimum and get out of here and do what I want to do, or like, and I feel like you find the joy in it, in making it good and making everybody's experience around you as good as it can be, and like people doing that just makes everybody happier. Like somebody who goes into your store and deals with you when you have that mindset, they're gonna walk out like with a smile on their face, you know? It's like they just had a good time, or an okay time at the very worst. Like, oh, they didn't have the shoes I wanted, but they were so nice in there, I'll come back next week. And it's like, versus if you hated your job, they'd be like, oh, they didn't have what I want and they were so mean about it, they told me to go screw off, you know? Like I don't know, it's really important that like people have that kind of attitude that you do. So I think it's a really good example, honestly.
because otherwise they're gonna be like, oh, I had a bad time there, I'm going to the chum bucket.
And a perfect transition to SpongeBob.
Oh yeah.
Dude, like every single time that we're talking, or even if we're not talking, just a random message, like SpongeBob always comes up. You're always quoting SpongeBob. I'm quoting it a lot too. What's your favorite? Do you have an all-time favorite episode?
Yes, I was going to ask you that too if it came up too. But obviously the first 3 seasons are the best ones. They're just hands down the funniest for many reasons.
This is really important for everybody listening, especially if you're a little bit younger. Go back to the older seasons. That's where the good stuff's in.
It is. The writers were different during that time as well too. The sense of humor was a little bit different and stronger in all the best ways possible, I feel like. After that, they were kind of just keeping up with their demand of creating this very popular show they had to keep running with.
Right.
But definitely the first 3 seasons I would highly recommend. I think it's in the first season, but Arg is my favorite episode. The one where they're doing the Flying Dutchman's treasure hunt map. They're playing the board game, and then they go hunting for the treasure. I feel like almost every single thing they say in that could be quoted into daily life. Like that episode is just head to toe a quote, back to back to back to back to back. Like,
oh, that's good.
An absolute riot.
Yeah. Yeah, they really had a great time. Like, I know what you mean. A lot of those old episodes are like that, where it's like every single thing they say is funny, or like you could reference it in something later and it's funny, and like people will know what you're talking about like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, like, look, Mr. Krabs is getting all sweaty again. Like, you might remember, like, oh, it's from the Arg episode, like the Flying Dutchman's treasure hunt map.
So good. Oh man, yeah. You've got some SpongeBob themed graphics too on your board, so
Yeah, I mean, I make graphics based off what I like, or I'm at a loss for an idea. Then I'm like, I don't know, like what would I ride? Like something with SpongeBob on it, or like I don't know, or I've made like the Pokemon graphics in the past too. Like it's another one of my hobbies that I like doing lately too. But wait, going backwards though, what's your favorite episode? If you can think, or if you can narrow it down to like a couple of them, because I know it's tough to pick
oh
one
man,
from those.
it's really hard to pick a favorite episode.
Yeah, or like one that's like in your top 5.
Yeah, I mean any of probably season 1, just because like it's so raw and like beginner. It's like they just made SpongeBob, like literally, like it's not polished or refined at all.
Not
It's just
polished.
like, like you know what I mean. Like the
Yeah.
art is like super hand drawn.
Like raw trucks.
Yeah. Yeah. If I had to pick an episode, dang,
Bubble stand.
that is a good one. Oh, what's that one? Where there's like not a word spoken. It's just like,
I think that's the first episode. It was like a reflowing episode. I forget the exact name of it.
it was like a half, like it was like a really short,
Yeah.
like skit kind of, and it was just like silent. Yeah, and then there was like, oh dude. Yeah, actually, like the first episode's so good. I rewatched it like pretty recently. I don't know. This is a tough question. Cause like I always rewatch them like late at night when I'm sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to say the first 3 seasons, and then if I need to be more specific, the first season.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Dang, the Texas one's pretty good though.
Yeah, that one's really good.
Maybe I'll pick that one if I have to pick
Can't say
something.
anything bad about Texas.
What did you just say?
Should I start running now?
So good. How did you get into Pokemon, and then how did you get probably back into Pokemon later?
So, for that, the first time I ever went to a mall in like 2000, like my aunt took me.
Whoa.
So I went to like the Taunton Mall, Silver City Galleria, and they were like, okay, you can, yeah, RIP that mall. But then like, okay, you can like pick something. So like Pokemon like just came out the year prior. I'm like, I want this. Oh, like I want Pokemon cards. Like okay, and then like that got me like hooked into Pokemon. Loved the cards. Started playing the games later on as well too. But I probably played with those from like maybe like kindergarten to like 3rd grade or so, like just collecting them. Then I kind of fell into Yu-Gi-Oh and whatnot, and did that for a couple of years.
I did the
and-
same thing.
Yeah.
I had Pokemon when I was like, I don't know how old, and then Yu-Gi-Oh kind of took over at some point,
Uh-huh.
and then it was fingerboarding.
Pretty much, yeah, same thing, yeah. I wound up like dropping that because like it's like okay, Pokemon's not cool. Like now it's Yu-Gi-Oh. It's like no, all card games aren't cool anymore. So I'm like okay, well I like skateboarding and fingerboarding. But go jumping way forward to 2020, all that fun drama stuff. But a lot of people started getting back into old hobbies. I started seeing a lot more unboxings of like Pokemon on YouTube and even like on TikTok and stuff and whatnot. And I'm like, dang, like I kind of want to like buy cards again for it too, because they had this one set where it was like it was called XY Evolutions. It came out in 2016, but they were still printing them in 2020. But it was a reprint set of the original base set from Pokemon 2 that I'm like, this one looks really interesting. Like
Whoa.
you could like pull a Charizard in here or like.
Oh, no
whatnot.
way.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. But now those sets, or that set kind of jumped up a lot too, now that, because it was all the way back in 2016, and now it's like $25 a pack for that one.
Whoa.
But the original base set packs, now those are like $300 or $400, like unweighed, like to be light with no hollow. Then if there is a hollow card in it, if you weigh it, then it's like 500.
You can
even
weigh
more.
it to tell the difference before you open it?
Oh, totally, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Makes
it's
sense.
really important for the vintage ones too, because if you're going to spend like hundreds of dollars, you want to know like there's a heavy weight to it that has a chance to get a good hollow that you can grade and like make some money off of. But
Yeah. Whoa. That's so crazy. Did you keep any of your old cards?
unfortunately not. I feel like that's why I got like so heavy back into it.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did with my collection over the time. Either I just got rid of it, or if I just was moving too much and like lost it or something. I kept like most of my Yu-Gi-Oh cards because that was my new interest after Pokemon. But I really wish that I had it, and I feel like since I lost those, it made like my new Pokemon addiction so much worse, where I want to have like all the cards I used to have, like, and more.
Right.
So I spent like
Yeah.
way too much money on it, but I had a lot of fun doing it though, and I feel like I have most of my old collection back, like, and more. And
Cool.
but it's really cool too. Like my niece and my nephew are really into it as well too, especially my nephew. But it's a really cool way to kind of connect with them as well too. Like we're always like trading cards. Like he even got like my sister like really into it too. Now she's got like a big binder, and
That's so fun.
it's nuts. But it's really fun like visiting them at their house. We all just go over our binders and do a bunch of trades and catch up and stuff.
Whoa, that brings back so many memories. Like, I didn't really get back into Pokemon, like this kind of second wave that happened for a lot of people, but I kind of observed it a little bit. But I still have like a bunch of my old cards.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
when I was first into it. I don't have all of them because I used to have a binder and I don't know where the heck that thing went, but I have a stack like this big, and like some of them are Japanese because my dad's friend would visit from Japan like for like business trips and stuff, and he'd like bring me Japanese cards, and I would open them, and it was like so amazing because like couldn't read anything on them, but they were like ones that didn't come out yet, and then like 6 months later they'd come out in the US and like in English, and it's like, oh wow, like told you guys it was real, you know. Like
the trend's
so
the same
crazy.
too. Like they still release a lot of like, may not be 6 months, but at least like 2 to 3 months in advance they'll come out early in Japanese. The Japanese
cool.
ones, like their print quality is just so much better. Like the US print quality is a little bit rushed based off the demand, I feel like.
Oh dang, dude! Everything made in like Japan is so good.
Yeah.
VX 1000s too.
I even had a couple Japanese ones in here too. Like there's this old like Dark Charizard from Rocket. You might remember that one.
Dude, I might have this exact card.
Probably. I just rebought that one off
That
eBay
looks so
from someone in
familiar.
Japan.
Wow.
And that's like a modern Charizard that came out a year or two ago. And then that's like the first promo Pikachu that came out.
So cool. Is this the one from the movie?
I don't think so.
Oh,
This
there
is
was
like,
one where like you went to the Pokemon movie in the theater and they gave you like a special card or two. I forget what it was, but I have it somewhere, or I might after this.
Yeah,
we'll
I
have
got some
to
of those
go.
too.
I could go get them right now, but
You should.
later.
I can check them out. I can give you an evaluation. I've learned a lot about like how much a lot of them are worth and like grading them and this and that. Like I spent like way too much time and energy into it, but I don't know, it's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I probably have something worth a lot, but I don't know if they're in the best condition, so maybe not.
Yeah.
Like that makes a huge difference, right?
It can, yeah. But mostly depends on the rarity and also like the demands of the card, and if it's like a favorable like Pokemon too, like Pikachu and Charizard, like those, like everybody loves those. People always buy those regardless of the grade.
Wow.
But if something's like an undesirable Pokemon, even if it's in the best pristine grade, people might be like, I don't really want this because like I don't really like this one. Like, yeah.
Crazy. And then it's like, I don't know, I feel like at the same time when I find something old like that, like if I find like an old Pikachu, it's like, this is Pikachu, why would I sell this, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to sell it.
It's hard to
And
let go of them, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of vinyl records. Like I just kind of got back into vinyl and I pulled out my old collection and stuff. And like a lot of those, I bought them when they were new, when they were, you know, $20 or whatever, 30. And now a lot of them are worth 300 each.
Really?
And it's like, but I'm never going to sell that because I actually listen to it and I like it and it's like my favorite. And I feel like Pokemon's got to be similar. It's like for people who do have their old collection and they pull it out and it's like, you have that dilemma of like, well, do I keep this thing that I loved when I was a kid and it's so awesome, or do I sell it because now it's worth more because somebody else lost theirs when they were a kid and now they miss it? Like
Exactly.
Yeah, that's cool stuff.
I had no idea that vinyl records could go for so much money like that too.
Dude, you know what's crazy? So my dad's really into Pink Floyd, and he used to have all of their records, or like a ton of them. And there was one that like sold for 14 grand, and I told him, I like started reading the name, and he like finished the sentence, and he was like, yeah, I used to have that. And I was like, used to? He's like, yeah, I don't know. I think I threw all of them away like decades ago. I'm not sure where they are.
Oof, or sold them at a garage sale or something.
Yeah, they, you know, it's like, he said like, you know, records went out of style, everyone got CDs, and there was no point to having records. And like, I can see it from that perspective, because like, people kind of later got back into records and realized like, okay, if you get a really good setup, it sounds better than a CD, and like, then it kind of came back, or whenever it came back. So it's like, it's interesting how Pokemon kind of faded out, whatever, and then it just like came back like super strong.
Yeah. It's an interesting point you made though, is like once records died, people like thought them as like worthless, and like now they're like really expensive. Like that's essentially what happened to Pokemon to an extent, especially during the time period of like, I feel like when I was getting out of it, a lot of other people were as well too. But like that time frame of when they were printing cards, there wasn't a high demand at all, so they were doing lower print qualities on a lot of those sets that were coming out. So that's why a lot of those cards are very popular or well expensive when you're grading them, because they have very low populations that not many people have quantities out there to get graded, get it graded into a 10 to be worth more value than somebody else's.
I think that's what's up with some of my records too, because they're like bands that maybe were a little popular when I bought them, so they made like 200 or 100 copies, and then it's like their fan base barely bought them all, and then it's like 10 years later they're a huge band or a relatively bigger band, and those old ones that they only made 100, it's like 70 of them disappeared probably, like you don't even know who has them. And it's like, good luck buying one.
Now your population's at 30, and then people can, whoever's the first to sell it can dictate the price in the market to an extent.
Exactly. And it's like there's probably, if you go to every garage sale, there's probably one for $2 in a bin somewhere. And then there's probably one online on Discogs for like $350, It's like, it's crazy how like things that are just collectible. I mean, we see it in fingerboards too. Some fingerboards get resold for like hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Totally.
Even though they cost $40 when you bought it, or less even.
Yeah. Some companies grow more popular over time too, and then the resale value just goes like crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I found my Pokemon cards, but before we get into this, I'm going to mention one thing from before. You mentioned having ADHD, and did you know that people with ADHD, they did like a lot of studies, and they found that they can focus just as well or better than like everyone else, but only when it's things that they're interested in.
Really?
So it's not like it needs to be reframed a little, is what they're saying. It's not like you can't focus on things. It's almost like you're not interested in what you're not interested in. Like some people can focus decently on everything, and some people are like, okay, that's dumb, I'm not going to pay attention to it, this is what I want to pay attention. Because people with ADHD can go like super into fingerboarding, Pokemon, whatever it is that you love, you know everything about it, you go super into it and you get creative with it and all that stuff. That's focus.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, because think about like one of my biggest struggles with ADHD would be like in school, like always getting distracted, like looking out the window on the side, or like looking at my pencil, or looking at the binder and thinking about how I could do a front crook on it with my tech deck or something like that. Like, but then like other things like fingerboarding, like I just like deep dive into it, stay focused, get as much done as I can until like I'm exhausted. But it's a really good point though.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to kind of to pay attention to. And like for fingerboarding, it totally makes sense. Like a lot of people say like fingerboarding helps me with my ADHD, and it's like yeah, because you like it and you can focus on it, you like
enjoy it.
Definitely. So yeah, that was just a little tangent I wanted to get into before I forgot about it from before. And now I found a whole bunch of my old Pokemon cards.
Holy crap.
Take a look.
Dang, yeah. So this is kind of starting from like the era I was talking about where it started to get a little unpopular, the Neo, like that. Same with this one too. Dang, Japanese Dragonite from Fossil. That one's crazy. It's got a little swirl in the center too. You can see it right there.
Whoa, yeah. That's sick.
More people want that as like a more desirable card.
20 minutes later.
Those are really cool.
Yeah, that's part of my childhood before fingerboarding right there.
Those are the things that like, when we're talking about like finding like records at like someone's like garage sale that's like $2 and it could be like actually 14 grand. Like this is like the stuff people like go for to find an old collection like this, and someone's like, give me like $5-10 for the whole stack. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, totally.
But definitely tough to get the more and more people have awareness towards it now.
Yeah, sometimes people find like VX1000s and stuff at like yard sales too.
Yeah, just like that.
Just like $20, you want it?
Yes.
Sure. How about 10? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know. 20 is kind of steep for this camera. Like, it was made in 1994. It's pretty old. It could be broken. It's pretty useless. You should just let me have it for free. Or, like, you take something else and be like, let me get, like, this basketball and this for $20. And like, okay. Like,
came with a free basketball.
Yeah.
Cool. One of the user-submitted questions for you was HD or SD?
HD or SD. HD is great and all, but there's something about the nostalgic feel of the standard definition, specifically in the VX1000, I like better. So I would have to say SD. I know some people might not like that answer, but there's just something about the nostalgia of the VXs, of like how I grew up watching that skate footage as a kid. Like that's the stuff that kind of inspired me. Like even before moving to California too, I'd see all these clips filmed on that camera with like the nice like sunny glow in the background, just because the VX1 is like so good. Like when it's sunny, especially like on golden hour before the sun goes down, and that mixed with the combination of how like the sensitivity level of the microphone, like not being too loud, too soft, like it's nothing can beat that.
Yep. I totally agree. I love HD a lot, but SD, VX1000, and also DVX for me is very nostalgic. But yeah, just that look, the feel to it, the sound, the fisheye. Like fisheye and widescreen, it's just not the same.
No.
It's okay. It's still, I mean, it's really cool still, but it's not nearly as good. Like you can't get as close because you have to chop the top off if you get closer.
Yeah.
Or you have a ton of wasted space on the sides versus the 4:3 aspect ratio. It like frames a skater perfectly or a hand, just like with no wasted stuff on the sides, and you can get closer because of it.
Yeah. And I feel like when you're doing HD and stuff like that too, you almost have to like tilt the camera like a little bit to like compensate for like the height you're missing on the top. Like especially if you're filming like a tall skateboarder like myself, can be kind of challenging too, like on like a HD fisheye shot.
Yeah, definitely. How tall are you?
About 6'1".
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good height to be.
Yeah, I guess so.
All the heights are good.
Yeah.
I got the short body.
You just gotta make the best of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I forget where I read it recently too, but someone was like talking about like the science of like it can be easier to skate like being shorter.
I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, I forget where it was. It was something on Instagram or whatnot.
Yep, that's where I saw it. It was I don't know, maybe Red Bull. Somebody random posted it, but it was like an interview with a skateboard fitness trainer, which I like just heard is a real thing. I didn't even know that they have those. But
Interesting.
I guess like some of the pros go to like special fitness trainers who...
Oh, they definitely have them like at Red Bull for sure, but I don't know if they exist too far outside of like other companies like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's interesting. It makes sense, like trying to build up your physical fitness in a way that benefits skateboarding long term, so that you don't have to quit when you're 30 from like injuries that could have been avoided if you knew what stretch to do.
This could all be over.
No, I think you're good. I mean, you're not like doing massive gaps and like breaking everything and
Not as much anymore.
Yeah. You got any broken bones?
I broke my pinky ollieing a really big gap like in high school, and then a little under 2 years ago I had a worse injury. I fractured my ankle.
Oh.
I was skating this ledge at my local park in Huntington Beach where I was doing a nose grind frontside 180. I was coming out like a little bit too early, and my front foot stayed on the board like in the switch position, and my other foot stayed backwards, and that pulling that way, and then I wound up sitting and crunching my foot in a twisted motion. So for like, I was icing it for like close to like 4 hours, like thinking it was just a really, really bad bruise. And I'm like, I should probably get this checked out so I can get like a note for work tomorrow. And they're like, yeah, you fractured it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow. Did you have to do anything or just rest it and put it in a like cast or?
They put me in the cast and then eventually like a boot like a month later. So I was on crutches for a while. And then I had to do physical therapy for quite a few months after too to try and regain. I pretty much had to like relearn how to walk again. It was crazy.
Oh dang, that's extreme. I didn't realize it was that crazy.
Yeah, and then even worse too, it was my flicking foot. So like my kickflips have always been opportunistic, even though I've been skating for like 24 years. But like the beginning of that year, I like finally figured out how to level them out like so nice. I'm like, oh cool, I just gotta like lean back a little bit more and I can flick out easier and it'll like level out and it looks really good. And then I fractured my ankle that year, and now they're back to.
Kickflips are overrated.
Exactly. I prefer tray flips anyway.
Way cooler.
Way easier and way cooler.
Nice. On a fingerboard, I love kickflips, but on a skateboard, I'm not a fan. I mean, I like watching them. I don't like doing them. Is what I mean.
It's at least for me, it's very easy to get frustrated over them.
Yeah.
Because like, there's just like good kickflip days and there's bad kickflip days. Like you can't control it.
It's something in the stars.
It could be.
You know how the moon has different gravity, like with the tides and the phases and all that stuff. So the moon's pulling the kick flips. Like that's why some days they're rocketed and other days they tweak downward. Like the front goes down. It depends on the time of day, the moon, where the moon is. You know, like all that stuff. You got to get one of those tide charts.
And track it with my kickflips.
Yeah.
And then I can find out like only on full moons is when my kickflips are flat.
Yeah. Did you know on full moons the most crime happens?
Really?
Yeah.
It like sets off something in everybody?
Yeah, apparently. I mean, maybe it's just better lit at night. Who knows?
Or is it because it's closer towards the end of the month and bills are coming up and people are like, I gotta make a move, like.
You know, that's a good theory. I bet it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And more that we don't understand. Yeah. That's crazy.
All of the above.
All of the
for
above.
Sure.
Next question. Are you good at multiple choice quizzes?
I'm actually not good at those. I
No?
always think like especially like in high school where you're like, oh, the whole test can be multiple choice. Like I'm not gonna study that much. Every single time I was in one of those moments, I come back and I have like somewhere between like a 40 to a 70%.
Whoa. Dang. Well, good thing you got your own company now.
Yep. Yep. I graduated high school, so we made it.
And you got a sweet job at Vans too. You've been crushing it there for years.
Yeah, I started all the way out here in Massachusetts as like a part-time supervisor. A year and a half later, I was promoted to an assistant manager. A year and a half later, I decided to leave Massachusetts and go to California and pursue Vans out there to try and get into the headquarters eventually and pursue store management. And then I went to like a couple other different stores now, but I'm still an assistant manager, but now I'm at like the highest volume full price store in the entire company as assistant manager. So there's like really the only next step from there is to jump into having my own store.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah, which it's pretty cool too, because like you have a lot of district managers over the years too, and a lot of them will tell you one thing and they'll tell you another thing, like, oh, I think you're ready, like, oh, I think you still need to do this, I think you still need to do this, and like I've been told that so many times. So I'm like, well, now I'm at the highest volume full price store, it's like you can't have me do anything next besides store manager. So
Yeah.
but that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to get to that location too, is like I can't hear this answer ever again, because like you can't tell me it, like there's nothing you can do to go above this anymore now.
Yeah, you gotta go in there and ask them for a promotion.
Sometimes you just gotta challenge yourself and put yourself in uncomfortable situations like that, and it may suck at the time or may feel that way, but you might get those opportunities you're looking for eventually because of that challenge, or you'll learn something new to help push you towards like some other reward later in life.
Yeah, totally. It's that good work ethic you got.
Yeah.
Take note, everybody.
I try. I'm still pretty lazy a lot of times. I have my moments too. Well, that's why it's cool to have your own company too. You can work at your own pace. Like I have to balance it with working on Vans' crazy schedule. If I'm working most weekends and everything too, I never have consistent days off. So with this, I can kind of play on like, okay, I'll have some time off. Like I can go sand boards this day, mold boards, etc. Like try and get this done before the next deadline for something or whatnot, or trying to make sure I'm not taking up too much time before like releasing stuff.
Yeah, it's cool to have both. You know, you have like your job that you have to go to when they say, and you have to do it, and then you have your guaranteed like some income from that, and then you have your own like freestyle on the side. Like if you work super hard, you do super well, and if you feel lazy, you can take a break, and nobody can tell you otherwise, basically. Like people will ask you for boards and you can just say like, oh, later, I'm taking a break, or like just making a few this month or whatever you want to do. So it's like
exactly.
What you put in is what you get out, and it's totally up to you how you go with it.
Mm-hmm. Like my first like I don't even know, like 5+ years of Devise, like I was making such little boards, like just like sometimes like there'd even be months I wouldn't even make anything or any of that, and not even like mold anything too. Yeah. But I'd still like put stuff out for the year to like sell at least like a handful to some people, like give some to my friends and stuff like that. Make a bunch of for myself to try out. But yeah.
So when did it get like more serious? Because now you're doing drops that like sometimes they sell out in like a day or less.
I guess so. I feel like it's honestly only happened just a few times, mostly with like the 55s and when Allen's stock as well too. Oh.
Hi, Rhombus. Welcome to the podcast.
Sorry, this is a good moment to ask backwards. What were you just asking me again?
Hey, Rhombus, what was the question again? She says it was... Oh, yeah, when did Devise get more serious?
Hey, Rhombus. I feel like I started getting more serious in 2015 when we started doing them on your website. That was also the time when I moved to Rhode Island. I left California. I moved there when I was 18 to pursue college for a few years because my dad was living out there. But a lot of like stuff happened in life too, a lot of like personal stuff and whatnot too, and I felt like it was a good decision to move back to the East Coast for a little bit. So I wound up doing that. I started working as the part-time manager for Vans that time, but then the other way to help keep my income for rent and everything was through fingerboarding too. So I kind of put like a little bit more pressure on myself where I need to come up with at least like 20 boards a month that I could like sell to you. Then we could like market them to make sure they sell through the month and then do it again next month, etc. But so it's just something to like help me like pay off all my bills and kind of put a deadline on myself. But then like doing all that too, it kind of helped progress everything as well too. It progressed the company, progressed my ideas, progressed all my creativeness. So it was just really good overall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool.
But yeah, super thankful for opportunity like that. Like you really helped me out a lot in my life at that time too. I'm not sure if you really realized that, but
I probably had no idea.
yeah, probably.
I understand now more
Yeah.
that you're telling me.
But like literally, like
That's
there was
crazy.
a time in my life where I almost had to like drop doing Devise early, like maybe not completely, but like a lot, where I would have had to like part-time Vans and then like work a job at like a restaurant or something like that too to like pay my bills. But the fact that I had like this opportunity to like get at least like a few $100s a month off of it too, like was like just what I needed for to keep it alive and to keep me to like have a second job that I actually enjoyed doing.
Crazy. What kind of stuff happened in California? Like you mentioned, it was tough, and then you decided to leave.
My girlfriend and I broke up.
Oh, was that the one that you were with like sometime that I went there?
Probably, yeah. The
Long
one,
time
the one
ago.
that skated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were together for a while, right?
Yeah, I think like a little under 2 years.
Yeah, it's pretty substantial.
My stepmom also passed away too.
That's rough.
Yeah, but yeah, my stepmom passed away, and there was something else that happened. I don't want to mention my other family member, but someone that means more to me, my family. Something almost happened to them, and that one like was like I was like I got like hit with a blow. Another one. Then I'm like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
It was just kind of like a lot to take in at that time. And then I was also jumping into the sense of like I should probably like have my own place, be more responsible, like take less pressure off like my family and stuff like that, and be more independent. And it was just like a big transitioning period for my life at that time.
Yeah. How old were you then?
Probably about 22, 21, 22.
Yeah.
So still pretty young, so still like trying to get all like that party vibe out of myself as well too, of like just turning 21, like getting rid of all that, and then also like maturing at the same time too.
Yeah. Sometimes those like difficult moments can be like super key moments. Like you either go the right way because of it, or you go the wrong way because of it. So it's like you made the right choice to be like, all right, this is like showing me something. What can I do with it? And then now you're flourishing. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Floundering.
Yeah. Look at this.
Ah, she's so beautiful.
When did you first meet Rhombus?
Oh man, probably around 2015, I would say too, when I moved back. That's when I started hanging out at your house. Because before that too, like I'd been to like a few rendezvous before, but like I was such like a shy kid, like I was so afraid to like talk to you or like pretty much like anybody, just besides like the group of friends I was with.
Yeah.
But I don't think I wound up ever talking to you until like I moved to California already. It was at like the Venice skate park. There was like the Black River tour where they came out for like 2 weeks and did like 4 events, like 2
dude,
for each weekend.
That was a crazy tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went on that with them. That was nuts. So
Yeah.
you were at the Venice. Is that the first time that we like met or talked?
First time we talked, yeah.
Yeah.
I like waited till like the very end before I was about to leave.
No.
Like I almost like didn't do it.
I'm
And
glad
then
you
I'm like
at least
I
did.
need to say hi to him. Like
Yeah.
And then I like offered to make you a board, and then I'm like yeah, like I can make you a board. Like you should check it out. Like I can bring it to you next week's event. Like I'll be there. And you're like, okay, cool. Like just
Sweet.
don't make me anything with like a red top ply. Like
Oh yeah, dude, red top ply is bad luck.
yeah,
Like
it's bad luck.
it's bad luck. Wait, what did I just say?
Bad luck.
Yeah, it is bad luck.
I just thought it was like a preference. Like it like might throw off your vision.
Oh no, dude, it's literally bad luck. I can't even get into what happens, but bad things happen to a lot of people with red top plies.
Okay.
And if you now that you know that, if you start looking into it, you'll be like, "Oh my god, like this is weird. Like it's a weird conspiracy or something." But
We're gonna have to dig into that after the
There's-
podcast. I want to.
yeah. But yeah, like like a handful of different people I've known who had like injuries and stuff. It's like, oh, did your board have a red top ply? And it's always like, yeah, or like most of the time. So I don't know, like, did yours when you broke your ankle
I hope not.
or pinky?
Probably not.
It might have, dude. You never know, because usually
Yeah.
you put the grip over and you forget what the top ply is anyways.
Yeah.
But
red's not usually like one of my choice. I try not to use it a lot because when you mix it with maple, it's very easy for it to bleed into the bottom ply and everything. So nowadays, when I only use red, I do like red top, red bottom, and then usually like red middle or something too, just so it all kind of bleeds together.
red bottom's all good, and
Yeah.
symmetrical is cool, but I still won't use a red top if it's red bottom.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
But I wasn't doing much graphic decks at the time. I just really loved the sense of just like making like natural like wood boards. Like I was very inspired by like a lot of your like the woods you guys would use for G12s and stuff.
Cool.
So then I've decided like, oh, he doesn't want red. I'm like, I'm gonna make blue then, like, 'cause that's my favorite color. And then you like SpongeBob and so do I. So I made like all SpongeBob colors. I think I used like probably like a yellow or brown and blue and a maple mixed together, just so it was like kind of like his body, I guess. I'm like,
awesome.
like I'll make it SpongeBob themed. Like it's the opposite of red. It'll be good. You'll like it.
I probably still have that board.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to look around. That's sweet. Was that the same mold as like the newer ones?
The regular? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was probably like I made that shape for like about a year. So like I was like very confident. Like this is a really good one. Like I think you'd like this. Like
Nice.
yeah.
That's sweet. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode's sponsor segment. We have maple wheels all the way from Canada. These things are awesome. If you've ever seen Shark Tank, they had a skate company that made square-looking fluorescent light bulb style wheels, and they called them shark wheels, and these guys did a collab with them. So we got a fingerboard version of them. We've got blue wheels, we've got party pack bowl, and we got ultra. So they've got different shapes. The ultra are actually not square crazy shape, they're just round. These look nice, very nice shape. Oh yeah, I'm saving the sharks for last because that's the most exciting to me. Awesome, look how neon those colors are, that's crazy. So these are the bowl shape. They got maple on the side of them, like the letters sticking out, so that's cool. And yeah, these are all bearing wheels, of course. And they're like a urethane kind of material, I believe. I'm gonna try them out here in just a minute. And here we go, shark wheel in blue. This is my favorite. They got these cool stickers too. So, oh yeah. I don't know if you can see it here. I'll zoom in later if not, but they have this crazy swirly look to them, and they, from a certain angle, they look square. Wow, they really look square from a certain angle. Yeah, but they're actually round, of course, and I'm about to pop them on this setup and see how they go. So, yeah, thank you so much to Maple Wheels for sponsoring this episode, and we just teamed up, so you'll be able to buy these on the Flatface website as well. You can also buy them in Canada on the Maple Wheels website. And yeah, let's see what they do. I'm sure they will roll. And as a bonus, they should be good. Actually, I mean, I've tried these before. I do know that they're good. But this is my first time having my own. Wow. They look crazy. Cool, yeah, they have a kind of soft feel. I have these on a skateboard too, on a cruiser setup, and I have to say it's kind of a similar sensation. They're like a little bit soft. They're not too grippy, but they're somewhat grippy, you know? They're grippier than flat face wheels. Got a nice squeak to them. Yeah, these things are just awesome. They look really cool. We'll show some close-ups of those rolling. And yeah, so again, if you want something really funky, try out their shark wheels. They look totally ridiculous and they roll smoother than you'd imagine. And then these bowl wheels, these are classic, great for an old school setup, cruiser setup, whatever. These are pretty big wheels. Actually, Yeah, they're about the same size as the shark ones, but I don't know, the shark ones don't seem so big because they have a crazy shape. And then if you're into regular fingerboarding like we all are, you got this more like a street shape wheel. And those are the, oh, where'd it go? Oh yeah, the ultra shape. So yeah, you got ultra, you got bowl, and you got shark. So check them out, shark wheels, or maple wheels really. Maple wheels on my website and maple wheels on maplewheelsfb.com. So we met in California, and then you came back, and then how the heck did we start hanging out? I don't remember.
You wound up like, so after that moment when I gave you the board, we hung out at that event. We hung out like after the event as well too, and you talked about like, oh, like we should like sell your decks on my website. We should just like try and come up with some graphics because graphic decks sell better. So then I started exploring that area for graphic deck making because I didn't really do a lot of that. But I was also moving back, and you're like, oh, we totally got to hang out. Like, so then you were doing all the store sessions and stuff too. So like I'd at least come by for the store session and like once a month and like hang out for the weekends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember like some of those like store sessions and stuff way back when.
Yeah. I think like the week I flew back, there was a rendezvous too. It was rendezvous 21 maybe. It was the last one you ever did at the warehouse before your new one, like the bottom level, at the
Oh, in the big building?
the place off Osgood Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. You Alex and one of my good friends, BCat, who works at Skater's Edge, went with me that day.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Rendezvous 21.
It was a good one. It's pretty mellow too compared to how they are now too. I mean, there's still a lot of people there too, but now it's always like 200 plus people.
Yeah.
And then like the more and more like as the years go on, like especially like as a company owner now too, I know so many people. I continuously meet new people, and like now like the event's like very like overwhelming. It's like I want to catch up with everybody, but like I don't have enough time. Like it's crazy. Like there's just so many awesome cool people in the scene I keep meeting, and like it's just like almost too many. But it's definitely not a bad thing, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's wild. A lot of times at the rendezvous, I'll like see people like that the whole time, and it's like everyone, I see each person for like 3 minutes or something, and then it's like the next person like comes in or whatever, and it's just like you feel like you saw like 200 people, but like you barely got to talk to any of them.
Yeah.
Because each one is like so fast.
I know. Like even like I made like one custom board for one of my friends, and I couldn't even find him in the event.
Yeah, I had a lot of people like message me after, and they're like, oh hey, I was at rendezvous, but like I was too like I didn't want to bother you or whatever, and I'm like, oh, you should have came up. Or like some people like were like, yeah, I was talking to you at rendezvous, but I didn't tell you who I was. And I'm like, dude, you were so close, you should have just told me, because then I would know. Like, you know, it's like when you do have that chance, when you're just take it. Don't feel like you're like, people feel like, oh, I don't want to take this person's time. It's like you're already talking to them. It's like you're not less than anyone else either. Like, you know, like everybody is a person. So like,
but that was my exact same mentality.
Don't be too shy when you have the chance.
I was like too afraid to like go talk to you, and I'm like, I don't know what to say for one. And then it was like, hi, like this is my name. I'm like, oh, cool. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's a start, because if you don't do that, then it's like, I met this guy, I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, I met this guy, his name was Stefan.
And
then it's like, oh, Stefan, who's Stefan? Oh, he owns Devise, cool. Like, you know, like you can get somewhere if you at least know who it is you're talking to.
Yeah, but back then, like I wasn't even thinking too much like of deck making. I looked completely different. I didn't have a beard or anything. Like
the beard is iconic. How long did it take you to grow it like that?
That's a tough one to answer, but I could kind of dig into like when it started.
Yeah,
that helps with it.
That's cool.
I was working for Quicksilver before Vans. So I was doing retail for like, it was like Quicksilver, DC, and Roxy. They had a corporate office where they had a retail store, like a tri-brand store of everything together. But my managers were doing No Shave November. And then they were like, you should do it too. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And then I wound up like growing a beard like faster, like longer than some other people too, like my managers and stuff. And I was like, dang, like, I'm just going to keep this running. Like, this is pretty cool. Like, it was like a little bit like patchy in like certain areas too, but like it starts to kind of cover over itself like the longer it gets. Like, like this in total is probably like, I don't know, like 6 months to a year-ish of like probably growing or something like that. But it grows super quick. Like every time I trim like an inch off of it, I feel like next month it's already back. Like it's like has like a mind of its own.
You heard it here first. Stefan's beard has a mind of its own.
Have my beard have its own company.
Whoa, you should. It would be like a little offshoot brand.
Beard Boards, sister company of Devise.
That would be sick. Do you put any like beard oil in there and stuff, or you just leave it?
Occasionally, like mostly like if I'm going out or if I know it's like getting too dry or something. But other than that, I just put like conditioner in it like every other day.
Like when you're like washing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So it's like washing your hair.
Essentially, yeah.
It's
like
a lot of hair.
It's a second set of hair.
Yeah. You got more on your beard than on top.
Possibly. I did last week for sure.
That's awesome. Are you, what do you eat to feed the beard?
What do I eat to feed the beard?
Yeah, or to feed the whole system, your body, including the beard.
I don't know. I try to eat healthy. I eat a lot of like Mexican food. But so I really like, I don't know, just like things simple like chicken, steak, rice, bowls together like that too.
Yeah.
Like I'll have like a lot of burritos. I eat probably more fast food than I should, of like things like Taco Bell and In-N-Out burgers and stuff like that. But
In-N-Out's almost not fast food though.
Yeah.
Like that's the one fast food
one.
that I'll eat. I don't even consider it fast food. I mean it is fast food, but it's like I don't get to have it often, so
yeah.
I love it. It's so good.
I mean, it's cool too, because like, well, there's not that many out here, but it's like you could go to McDonald's or you could spend that same amount of money going to In-N-Out and get a burger. It's like actually a lot more well made.
Yeah, way
so
better.
if you are craving it, or craving a cheeseburger, it's better to go for something like that.
Yeah, too bad they don't have them on the East Coast. Well, maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I like Five Guys burger though.
Those are pretty good
I guess
too.
that's our equivalent, maybe.
Yeah.
It's like
They're a little more expensive, but they give you a lot more fries for sure. They usually like fill the whole bag with fries usually.
yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts.
They put one down the street, but I'm sure you'd rather go to Harrison's.
Oh yeah, yo, Harrison's is amazing. Yeah, when in Andover or anywhere close to this part of Massachusetts, Harrison's roast beef. Yeah, we used to go there a lot.
Yeah, tell them sauce mayo.
Yeah, or they call it the SM sauce mayo, junior SM sauce mayo. Get the fries; they're really good too. They put them in the deep fryer, and just I don't know. There's just something about them, like they're crinkle cut, but they're just made like so well the way they do it.
Yeah, so order the sauce mayo, and you get a roast beef sandwich with sauce and mayo on it, and that's like what makes it good is their special sauce. Like it's so amazing.
So should we say the name of their sauce?
We can say it because a lot of people listening aren't going to be in Massachusetts at all, maybe even ever in their life.
Yeah.
They're all over the world, so tell them the sauce. They can get it, make their own roast beef sandwich at home, and melt into euphoria.
I remember the name of it. Do you remember the name of it?
I'm trying to remember. It's like James River, yeah.
I was gonna say it's just
James
like
River Ranch.
It's just like Black River, yeah.
It does. You know what sucks? James River barbecue sauce is really, really bad for you.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I would eat it on a special occasion because you're here and it's Harrison's, but I wouldn't recommend putting that like every day on your food. Like it has MSG and all kinds of weird chemicals in there. So that's why it tastes so good.
Yeah, I was just
it's
gonna
like
say, that's probably why it tastes
really,
so good.
really tasty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't recommend eating that often. Like you'll get a worse form of ADHD for sure. It does. They say a lot of people's ADHD improves when they like switch to more natural diets and stuff.
Interesting.
Just because your brain is like not being kind of influenced by all kinds of toxins, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not a doctor. These are not real health claims.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
There was one question I got from, I posted it to, someone asked me what my favorite Pokemon game was, and I would probably have to say maybe like Fire Red, when they like made the replicas of like the original like first few Pokemon games, like Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Oh, I never played those new versions of them.
They were really good because like it was the exact same story and everything. One cool like feature before, like it showed you like where the last like 3 or 4 things you did before you shut off the game, so it kind of gives you a reminder of what you were last doing. You're like, oh yeah, I was working on this or that, like
a little recap.
Yeah, it's like you last like
Cool.
beat this gym, or you last caught this Pokemon, and you last talked to this person in the game in this area, and then it kind of helps to like give you a throwback of like, oh yeah, I was like trying to complete this or that.
That's crazy. Yeah, I think I stopped playing at like Gold, Silver, and Crystal was the last.
Ooh.
That's when I stopped
The
playing.
next ones were good too, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. But
No,
then after that,
not real. I never had it.
Those were great, but then
Cool.
the Nintendo DS games started coming out, and that's when I started dropping off from it as well too. So and then I don't really have much knowledge on those games.
Yeah.
Besides the new one, Scarlet and Violet, that just came out. Those are really good. I like those a lot.
Cool. Yeah, I don't have time for games.
Yeah, I don't play it that much, but I still have it. I really wish I brought it on the plane with me because there was no audio for the TVs this time, and I'm like, I don't think I'll need my Switch. And I'm like, oh my god, I wish I had my Switch.
Dude, I actually, the last time I played was that I left it on the plane because I was like, oh, this will be perfect for the plane. I never play games at home usually. I'll bring it with me, play it on this long flight, and then I like got there and I was like, oh, I left it on the plane. It's gone.
Oh my god.
It wasn't my like original. I still have my Game Boy Color.
Oh, cool. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I would kill to have mine.
But it was a Game Boy Advance that I left on the plane. That was also pretty old.
Oh, GBA.
Yeah. That was super fun. But yeah, I don't know. I just like, I don't have time to play video games these days because there's always something I would rather be doing first, where it's like, okay, if I do all the things I want to do today, then I could find time to do something like that. But it's like, I never get through half the things that I want to do in the day. So, yeah.
Agreed. Like, I had like a big phase where I was playing it a lot, like when I first got like Pokemon Scarlet. But then like after like I started beating most of it and there's like more stuff coming up, like I haven't touched it in like probably 2 months now.
Yeah. I don't know. Video games are interesting. I used to play a lot of Skate, a lot of Tony Hawk, and basically very few other games. I played like when I was younger, like random. Well, okay, Super Smash a lot. I'll still play that if it's like somewhere that I'm going that like people are playing. I love to play that. But like on my own, I like never pick up video games, and I think it's because it's like you put in so much effort for nothing. Like you only have the brief satisfaction of like I did that thing in the game, but you have nothing to hold in your hand, nothing to like. It's not like making a fingerboard where you put in all that effort into sanding it and stuff, and then it's done, and you're like, hey, it came out terrible. Snap it, make another one. Yay, it came out great. Like, it's way cooler to interact with like real physical things at this point. Like, I'm not trying to diss video games because I definitely spent like infinite hours on them, and I'm not against playing them, but I think it's important to like do real life things.
Or I just think it just becomes harder to balance video games the older you get. Just more responsibilities come up, like just like higher responsibilities at job. Like you might have a family you have now too, but then when you have like the family and kids and stuff like that, then they start playing, then that's a great time to be like, oh my god, now I can finally play again.
Yeah, that's a great time. A lot of people get to bond with their kids, like when their kids get old enough to play games and then they get back into it together. Yeah. That's super cool. I would definitely do that.
A lot of people I see that do that with skateboarding too. Like when I'm working at Vans, people like will be like, oh, like my kid wants to get into skateboarding. Like I'm gonna get a board with them too. Like we're gonna like buy like 2 completes, and it's really cool to like see stuff like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like now they're reliving like their love for skateboarding all over again, and they're seeing it like through their child as well too.
That's so exciting. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite parts of the job is building like completes for stuff like that.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, like that's somebody's like journey, like being heavily impacted in a good way.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Journey.
You
want to tell the story of Journey?
Journey.
That was a cool one.
Johnny Salazar. Was it Peru or Spain? Was it?
I think Peru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he went to a store session with me, you, and Alex, and then we went to Harrison's after. I didn't really know much about him, but he introduced his name to me when we got there. His name was saying Johnny, but with his accent, I thought he was saying Journey. So I'm like Journey, and like I confirmed it with him, and he said like yes. I'm like, oh, like nice to meet you, Journey. And then like you're all like laughing off to the side, like like knowing exactly what just happened.
Yeah, and you totally thought his name was Journey.
Yeah,
that was hilarious.
For quite a few hours.
That was great. Yeah, he was cool. Is he fingerboarding still?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I saw recently he just posted like a stock of decks, but he'll be kind of like someone who like will do it for a while, like jump out of it, jump back in. So like like they have that passion deep down inside of them too. Like they continuously go back to it.
Yeah, it's like almost nobody ever quits fingerboarding. Like they might stop for a few years.
Yeah.
They'll come back.
You'll never lose the skill too. That's one of the biggest things too. Is like so many people will stop for years. Like especially like a lot of my friends that like used to do it, and like they'll like use my board and they come over and like they can still kick flip, they can still nollie flip, like and like it's crazy to like see that for me, like watching them do it.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like in Germany too, like people like Elias, like he doesn't fingerboard that often, I guess, but then every time he does, he's just as good as the last time. Like
Yeah.
you would think he's doing it every day or something, or like pretty often.
Oh, someone asked me another question too. It was about like favorite styles or whatnot too. That Elias was a huge like inspiration for me as a kid. Like after I got my first G12 deck, I bought the Berlinwood Elias deck like right after.
Cool.
Like even before I got like bearing wheels, like I was still using like Tech Deck wheels, like Spinal Wide trucks, Teflon bushings, and yeah. And then eventually I got bearing wheels, which the first ones I got were G4Ds. And then I realized like how much like the deck made a performance. I didn't think the wheels would too. And I'm like, oh my god, like it all stays in motion so much easier. Like the flick, like with your wrist, and it all just stays together. Like because a lot of time when you're using like plastic Tech Deck wheels, like your board's like staying behind in a slower motion, and your hand's too far ahead of it that you don't land stuff. Like
Yeah.
But once I figured out how those two intertwined, I was like, oh my god, like. I feel like I was like riding on glass like right away, like feeling the bearings right away. And I'm like, this is like addicting, like so much worse. Like, like I'm really hooked now.
Yeah, it's a huge difference once you get everything good on your board for the first time compared to like wheels that are like bumpy and they stick and stuff like that.
Yeah, huge game changer. Don't underestimate bearing wheels.
Yeah, or Elias. I think he's influenced more fingerboarders than, I don't know, almost anyone. Like he's one of the biggest because everybody says him. Everyone's like, yeah, he was like one of the biggest inspirations, like his style and like for me too, he was like a huge inspiration.
I know. There's that part he did at the Herrick's that Harry filmed, and there's that one video he did that, and then you copied the whole video too as like a tribute too.
Yeah, the Park at Night.
Yeah,
that one's so good.
That one's really good too. I think, didn't he have like a Berlinwood Rasta deck in that one too? I think that's where I read
it was a fade. It was like one of the old fades.
Oh, okay.
Like probably from, I don't know, 2008-ish era. It was like a kind of exotic-ish maple where they dyed it different colors, tie-dyeing kind of together.
Oh, okay.
Like the maple with the dots on it, like John Cowart's arm kind of.
Oh.
Skin.
Bird's eye maple.
No, not bird's eye. Just like it's regular maple. It might be the way that it's cut, maybe the grain kind of. I don't know. Like
German maple trees.
I have to show you later, but yeah, like certain maple gets like really like, it's almost like sparkly, but it's not sparkly. It's just like it has like a lot of dots. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. What's in the beverage?
I was drinking Dunkin' Donuts earlier, which Dunkin' Donuts was my first job. Shout out to them. I worked there for about a year before I moved to California and started working for Quicksilver for doing like retail. But I was in the food industry before I did retail.
Cool. How was it working at Dunkin's?
It was really fun actually. It was pretty mellow. Like it was inside of a gas station. So like I was like inside of a Shell station. So there's always at least one other employee there that made me feel comfortable, which is good.
That's cool. Yeah.
Sometimes I'd be by myself at the store. So, but at least like someone else is there. It makes you feel more comfortable. But other than that, it was pretty mellow. I'd only work shifts like after I got out of school. Like I didn't do any of the morning ones because like just they already had people scheduled for that stuff. So I'd just be like go there like right after school, make a bunch of coffees and lemonades and stuff, and throw all the bagels out. But they were cool though. They let me like take home food a lot. I wasn't able to accept tips though, like because they're all like franchise owned. So like some franchise owners can choose to like do charities instead of accepting tips and whatnot. Like, for example, there's one kid who got hired on the same time as me. He worked at another location nearby owned by the same person. He accepted a 50-cent tip his first week and got fired.
Wow.
I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was so scared to like accept $1 from somebody like after that. Like, and if I ever did, I'd have to like really like keep like under my hand and like walk into like the no camera zone and like drop it in my pocket or like.
Dude. That's crazy. So they don't let you accept tips, and
only
why?
Certain franchise locations, yeah.
Because of charity? They want to donate to charity?
I'm assuming it might have been like probably something to benefit like the franchise owner. I mean, like, well, there's a good cause to donate to those charities too, but they could probably also like kind of like write it off in that sense too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Huh. I mean, there's got to be a better way, because there's ways you can donate to charity without taking your employees' tips.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say that's gonna.
Because tips are really important for a lot of jobs. Like some jobs pay less because they know you're gonna get tips, so you're really depending on those tips.
Yeah, or you might be inclined to give a better service if you know you're gonna get tipped as well too.
That's true too. Yeah, where do you get your motivation? You got no tips coming.
I know, right? But my boss was cool though. She let us like take a little bit more food than we were supposed to because of that. So
Oh, cool.
I'd always like leave with like a sandwich and some donuts and some coffees and
Nice.
yeah. It was always worth it.
Were the donuts still good back then? Like they changed them at one point. They're like
Yeah, they were
sandy
probably
now.
better back then. They were
Yeah.
probably like a little bit bigger. I know they've gotten smaller over the years too.
They like reduce it by 2% each year so no one notices.
Probably, and then they're gonna be sliders before you know it. Like.
But did you notice like they used to be so good and then they like changed the sugar to corn syrup or something and like they don't taste as good now. I mean, it must have been 10 years ago or something that
Yeah.
they did that, but they used to be amazing because I used to eat a lot of donuts.
Yeah.
And then like all of a sudden they were just not good and I had to stop eating them.
Interesting.
And that was like before I learned about healthy food, so I was just like
Yeah.
loving the donuts. I would skate to Dunkin's and just like get a few donuts.
Yeah, I know. There's one that's super close to your house too.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
All right, do you want the easiest or the hardest question of the day?
Let's do the hardest question now.
All right.
Boy.
The hardest question, what was the biggest mistake you've ever made in life?
I kind of sensed this question was coming, so I thought a little bit about it. I don't know if it's the best answer though, but like,
Well, what's the best answer?
I really wish I started my website earlier and kind of like put myself out there more, because there was a lot of times, like I mentioned, where I wasn't making a lot of boards, or like kind of like tough times where like I almost have to get another job and take hours away from working on boards and stuff like that. I'd have to get rid of the company. But I really wish I put a website out there just for like, who knows who would have saw it, who would have like placed an order of like a deck I had like sitting around and just like sent me like 30 or 40 bucks, like could have made like a big difference. But I literally only just started my website about like under 2 years ago. So I was literally just only making boards from like selling it to like to friends, like at events, or just like small distributions at skate shops and stuff like that. But yeah, there wasn't not a lot of money coming in from there.
Yeah.
It was all just like just doing it for fun, for passion. But then I came to that point where I'm like, I need to like make a little bit off of this, otherwise like I really can't do this. Like
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like you don't know what kind of potential you have if you don't go all in with it, or at least more in.
Yeah, and then the more effort you put into it, the more results you see, and now like I can't even really keep up with everything I want to do. Like I wish I could make way more boards that I can think of too, because there's like so many distributors I want to hit that like are reaching out to me, and there's also so many distributors I haven't even reached out yet to that I'm afraid to reach out to, because like I'm not gonna be able to finish stuff in time for them, you know.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have though.
It's an excellent problem to have.
Yeah.
But it's definitely stressful still.
I mean, I'm even in the same kind of boat. Like I have so many distributors that want boards, but I can't make enough boards for my site yet. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, and that's
It's
important too.
crazy.
You got to protect like your website too, because like that's where you're getting your main source of income to survive, so you can continue to do other things with distributors and
Yeah, exactly.
send stuff out to sponsor events and stuff like that too. Because the smaller the company is, the less room you have to wiggle with that as well too. Like I'd love to sponsor every single person's event that like messages me too, but it just depends what I have at the moment, honestly,
yeah,
or like what's going on in my life at that time too.
you gotta hire like some help or something.
Yeah, it's getting there. I'm starting to have my girlfriend help me a lot as well too. She's helping me with like the sanding process, like some graphic application and things like that. But I had her like make her own boards as well too, to kind of like see the process and observe me and how I do it too, and I kind of give her like steps where I feel like it's kind of like hard to mess up these things too. But she's very creative as well too, so she picks up on that crafting stuff pretty easily, I feel
Yeah.
like.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool. It's fun to make boards with people.
Yeah. I know, it is. And like even if like even just like hanging out with like friends in the garage, like when you're making boards too, like even if like they're not working on stuff like too, like just to have someone else like to talk to like just talk about like whatever's going on. It's just like cool to like have like a friend there just like with you like in the process of while you're
Yeah.
in the trenches working on boards. Like
Yeah, that's sweet. Did you ever have a childhood dream?
I have had a childhood dream. Like
But not a dream,
like
like in your
dreams as a
sleep?
child, yeah.
Like what's your biggest dream, like when you were younger?
Oh man. I wanted to be a professional skateboarder.
Sick.
And well, that didn't work out. But I found out like the next best thing you could do is like to be involved in the skate industry. I found out that makes me like just as happy, if not happier than I would have been if I became a professional skateboarder. I feel like just the responsibilities you have as a skateboarder and like maybe like the mental battles you put yourself through of having to compete with other people and like thinking like, is my stuff good enough, etc. And having like footage deadlines and stuff like that too, it can almost take away the fun out of skateboarding. So I feel like if I pursued professional skateboarding, I might have like been out of skateboarding by now if I did that.
Yeah, that's a good call actually. Definitely. I think yeah, like what you get to do now is like working with skateboarding, and you're bringing a lot of like, you probably even see more happiness in a way. Like you get to give
100%.
people their completes and stuff like when they're starting.
Yeah, I mean like retail might not be the main thing I want to do like with skateboarding working in the industry, but it's something that still makes me happy for at the time being right now. But I feel like as long as I'm involved with skateboarding and no matter what I do, like that's what keeps me happy and feel like I'm making my dream happen that way.
Yeah, that's
because I'm
awesome.
working with passions that I really enjoy doing, and I'm not just doing like a job that I don't like just because it pays me a lot.
Yeah, and it's overall not like not draining or anything. Like sometimes some people like
every job can be draining at times.
Yeah, true. But it doesn't take the fun out of the hobby for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's good because there's a lot of mixed things with that. Everyone I talk to, I ask like, does it make it better or worse for you? Because like some people, they start working on their hobby and they're like took the fun out, and other people are like, oh, it's just awesome, it's so good. Like for me, it's amazing, I love it.
Totally. Like I don't have to skate every day. I can skate once, twice a week. I can skate once or twice a month. Like I still love it just as much. But it's definitely for your mental health to skate more and just to kind of help push yourself as well too, to learn new stuff and hang out with your friends. It's always good.
Yeah, definitely. And now time for the user submitted questions.
User submitted questions.
We have Alex Garcia says, what is your process when you're trying a trick? When do you decide to click record?
I feel like as soon as I've thought of the idea and I've like tried it once or twice, I think it's a good time. I feel like a lot of times too, if you've like already done it and then you go for it again, then sometimes you get stuck in these battles where it's like, oh my god, I just did it. Like now I'm like so aggravated. Like
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's one that everybody's been saying too, is like, if you've already done it, forget about it. You're not doing it again.
I know, right?
Almost.
For someone like you, I would say like when I'm filming you, like I need to like start recording before the idea comes to your mind, because sometimes you're like, I think I'm gonna do tray flip, nose blunt, and I flip out. You got that right? Like
yeah, I'll like do it as I'm thinking of it or saying it.
I have like quite a few clips like that.
Yeah, it's pretty common. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Just you think of something and you do it, and then it's gone.
Because then it's so stressful when it's just like, oh, I gotta do it again. It's like, but sometimes it'll come really quick, but when it doesn't, it's just like, it's just that much more frustrating when you know you've done it. It's more frustrating than knowing it's like, oh, I almost landed it. It's like, I literally just did it.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like, if you didn't already do it, you wouldn't even care if you don't do it. Because you're just like, oh, I guess I can't do that right now. Or like, it's not working. But if you just did it, it's like, oh, what? It just happened. Why can't I do it again? Yeah. All right, next question.
Good question, Alex.
Another Alex asks, what's your happiest fingerboard memory? From Alex Miso.
My happiest fingerboard memory? Dang, that's really tough. I like almost want to say like my first rendezvous, like the first time experiencing all that stuff too, but I feel like there's probably like a better answer of like with my personal friend group. But I guess since I can't really think of that, I'd probably have to say the first rendezvous, just like seeing all this stuff come to life, like seeing these like $2,000+ Black River parks. Well, now they're worth like $7,000 after shipping, but
7,000.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Like someone just got a G15. They paid $7,000 shipped for it from Black River from Canada. Or I mean, because like
really,
it costs like around $3,000 like for shipping almost now. I know it used to be like 1,000 to 1,500 maybe when I first
yeah,
got into
you know what? You're
fingerboarding.
right. Yeah, it used to be less. I think the latest one I got, it was 2,500 shipping for me.
Yeah.
It might depend where you're shipping it to also, though, because the East Coast is like
closer.
You get the ocean and you just send it over the ocean and it's there, versus California, you have to go over the whole country too.
Yeah, ocean, then the country.
Yeah. Or around the long way.
Yeah. But it was definitely overwhelming in a great way to see all that stuff come to life. Like see how many fingerboarders there were, how many other people like knew how to consistently do kickflips in their grinds and stuff, and just seeing all these parks come to life that like I only saw like on your videos and Black River's videos and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's super crazy. Like I had the same kind of feeling like at my first rendezvous, which was the first rendezvous, like when I saw Taylor Rosenbauer and he was doing stuff I couldn't do and I had never seen in person, like, oh, you can like nollie tray nose grind and it's like not hard for you and it looks good. Like what? Because that was super hard. Like if I could do it back then, it didn't look good and it took me an hour to land it. So it was just like, wow, no way. Like seeing fingerboarding in front of your face and then all the crazy ramps and stuff that even like he would bring and everything. Like I started getting a lot of Black River stuff and he had a lot that I didn't have yet and it was really crazy to just see everything.
Interesting. Early inspirations.
Yeah. Super good. All right. Do you like cats?
I love cats.
Yeah.
I'm more of a cat person than a dog person, I would say.
Me too.
But I have 2 cats with my girlfriends, Valentina and Marchie.
Yeah, I heard one of them is really soft.
Yes, Marchie is very, very soft.
Like rhombus soft.
Yes, like on that level.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's an incredible softness. Not many cats are that soft.
Yeah, that's the best. I love cats. Why is your name S Dog if you like cats better?
Oh, that's a really good question. I feel like, so that was a nickname I created for myself when I was playing Tony Hawk's Underground a lot. I was like doing like the online play.
Cool.
And then like you're like at that phase where you're like going into like elementary, middle school. You want to be like cool and accepted, like and like kind of like gangsterish in a sense. Like that's when like G-Unit was big, I guess. But but I mostly made it as like the like cash money like sign like dog like
nice.
like $sign dog.
Yeah.
So my friend Alex Hancock said to me once. So that was really funny.
That's great.
But yeah, that's mostly why I made it. Then I'm like, oh, it makes sense. It's like cash dog, like, but it's S dog, like Stefan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like just like kind of like Snoop Dogg or whatnot. It's like it's cool. It's like gangster. It's like. But that's how I felt in 4th grade, and then I put it like on my MySpace as my name too, S dog. And then eventually, like one day when I was hanging out at Joker Skate Shop in California, the shop owner there like saw my name as like S Dog on MySpace. He's like, dude, like I'm only calling you S Dog from now on. Every person like introduce you to out here, like I'm introducing you as like S Dog. Like
that's amazing.
He introduced me to like Wee Man and like Jeff Grosso and like so many other like professional skateboarders. Like, oh yeah, like this is S Dog right here. Like,
dude.
Like hey, like nice to meet you. Like.
I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but then I just kept pushing that towards like my YouTube name, like my Instagram handle, like my personal account and stuff, and just ran with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just like so far deep, like you just can't go back. Like you're Mike Schneider 161, like you're not going to change those last 3 numbers like all randomly.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Even with Flatface, I've said this before somewhere, but I don't remember
that's
where.
That's a better
like,
example. Yeah.
Yeah, like when Flatface became kind of big, there was this moment where I was like, oh man, like I'm stuck with the name Flatface, like it's so
Forever,
stupid,
yeah.
it doesn't mean anything, and just what the heck is Flatface? And then like it was already famous, it was like it's too late, you can't change it.
Yeah.
But
You've already
it's
built all this reputation up to it.
yeah, exactly. It's an awesome name, but it's like totally random. So
Yeah.
it's like
I know, it's like
funny.
enough to get like people get confused by it now. I feel like, but then in the end they're just like, like well, what's behind the name? Like what is the product? Like.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything. It doesn't make sense, but
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah, it's just stuff we come up with when we're young kids and don't realize how far it's really going to follow us down the line.
Yeah.
So maybe think about that, kids, when you make your YouTube or your fingerboard company name or Instagram handle. Like, you might be stuck with it forever.
Yeah, think of a cool name.
Yeah.
Spend a year in the dictionary.
Yeah, use a thesaurus.
Yeah. That's awesome. All right, we got a great one. How do you like your steak cooked?
My steak.
Yeah.
Medium rare, for sure. I do like rare steaks, too. My girlfriend actually works at a Brazilian steakhouse, too. So they have really good steaks there.
Ooh.
I get kind of scared by the rare ones sometimes if they're, like, really, like, raw looking almost to an extent, too. But I love a nice, like, medium rare steak. Like, I like seeing the red in the middle, for sure.
Yeah, me too. I used to like it more kind of well done almost because I was, like, just so scared of, like, the rawness. And so I was just like, yeah, steak's not good, you know, like I don't like steak. And whenever I would get one, which was not often, it'd be like, yeah, well done, you know. And then once I had like just even probably medium, and like I'll do medium to medium rare depending, and it's like so much better. I was like, no wonder I didn't like steak back then. I was getting it well done. It's like basically overcooked.
It's like meatloaf at that point.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean a good steak, like a little bit rare on the inside, is like so good. You ever go to Florida?
Not in a while.
All right. Well, next time you go to Florida, get some alligator.
I
So
will.
good. It's like if you mix like chicken and like I don't know scallops or something together, like in the middle between those two, or like chicken and like I don't know like a white fish kind of.
Alligator. I would try it for sure.
Yeah. There's a place in Salem, New Hampshire that sells like sticks like that of alligator, like alligator jerky stick.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't know. I haven't been there in years. But it's like on that main strip in Salem where like all the stores are. Can you backflip?
Can I backflip? On a trampoline, I think I could probably do it into a pool. I don't know if I could anymore, but definitely on a trampoline I can do a backflip.
Wow.
Not on flat, not jumping off the side of anything.
Yeah.
But I had a trampoline growing up from like when I was in middle school, so I was doing like a lot of front flips. It took me a while to work up to doing a backflip. It's really scary. But
Yeah,
I
really
can do it.
scary.
Yeah.
I've never done one.
I can like just barely do it on the trampoline where I can like just get enough momentum. Like you kind of have to like start flipping later, or at least like for me that's how I figured it out.
Whoa.
That's really scary.
Yeah. I don't think I'm too old to that.
Yeah, because
to
like
do that.
front flip, like you're already like starting your flip like as you're doing the jump, and you're almost halfway there.
Yeah,
So,
front flip. I could always, for some reason, do those.
Yeah, backflip so much.
I can
better.
backflip off a swing though.
Oh, I used to do that a lot when I was in middle school.
So fun, yes. I've done like one like in my more recent years where I was like, I don't know if I got this, and then I was on the swing. I was like, oh, I totally have it, and I just did it. And like thinking about it now, I'm like, I don't know if I would go for it now.
I feel like if you saw someone do it, you would feel more comfortable to do it, just like skating or something.
Yeah.
Like if we were on a playground and I did it a few times, you might want to try it or something.
Yeah, it could happen.
But I kid you not, almost every recess I had in 5th grade, I was running out to the swings with my friends so we could claim them, and we'd take the swings all recess long.
Yes.
And we would do backflips off them. Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude, me too. Like me and Pat McGinn did a lot of those.
Hey, Rhombus.
Next question is, do you dream about fingerboards in your sleep?
Do I dream about fingerboards in my sleep? Probably not a lot. I can't really think of a distinct time where it's happened, but I'm sure I do. Probably more so like fingerboarding with certain people, more so than like creating boards or anything. I'll have like trick ideas come to myself, mostly like for skateboarding, like in my sleep, but not like fingerboarding for some reason.
Cool.
I think with fingerboarding, the more you do it, and once you learn how to like kickflip and stuff into like every grind, like you can almost do all those ideas like in the moment. It's like, oh, I kind of maybe could do this or whatnot too, and then you can probably do it within like 2 or 20 minutes or so, like
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah, I feel like with dreams, sometimes I'll have skateboarding ones, or like, do you ever have like you're falling asleep and you can like control your dream kind of?
Yeah, those
Yeah.
are the craziest ones.
I love when I get that
Yeah.
and it's skateboarding and it's like just a white background and it's infinite like stair sets. They're just like 10 sets and then they land and there's flat and there's another and just like do every flip trick down them all.
Oh,
It's like so fun. I've had that like, I don't know, 10 times at least. Like,
interesting.
just randomly happens. I hope I get that again. It's been a while.
Like sometimes I'll have dreams like if I know I'm going like a certain park tomorrow, I'll like start like imagining myself like skating it or like just zone off into
sweet.
that. And it's
That's
like,
cool.
oh, I can't wait to try this. I can't wait to try that. Like envision yourself doing it. Like,
Yeah, that's awesome. What does he eat for breakfast?
what do I eat for breakfast? I usually will have like a lot of like fruits, like an apple or banana. But lately I've been having a lot of breakfast sandwiches. So I'm just trying to get bacon and eggs into my system as soon as possible. Just because I found myself to be a lot more productive when I have like high proteins versus there.
Yeah,
Because a lot of times in the morning my stomach's very sensitive, so I want to have things that are like kind of cool. Like I used to have yogurts a lot, but then I kind of started figuring out I feel like some of these things might be like too high in sugar for my body in the morning too. That I should have something that's a lot more like natural fatty. Like even though it might have a lot more sodium and whatnot and stuff to it, I find it's a better way to start off my body for the day.
that's cool. That's kind of similar to what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of protein in every meal, but especially breakfast, eating like the same kind of food I would for lunch or dinner
Yeah.
for breakfast. And it's like the protein goes a long way. Like I think a lot of people are deficient in protein. Like you need so much protein every day, and like the recommended amount is like too low basically, and a lot of people aren't even hitting that amount. So it's like,
Interesting.
yeah, protein and fat really fuel your body and your mind. Like your brain needs that stuff to function really well.
Yeah, and especially early in the morning. I don't know why I never thought of how important that could really be.
Yeah.
It's a good way to like wake up for it. I just have like a lot of stomach issues in the morning for some reason. Like sometimes it's like really hard for me to get an appetite. So I have to kind of like just like wait for like that opening, and like I got to take advantage of it right away before like my stomach like shrinks, and then I can't eat anything and I get angry easily at everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's important to get some food in you. It's like, I just feel like when I wake up, I have like a ton of energy when I first wake up, but it's going to go away really fast if I don't eat. But if I eat, then it's like somewhat sustained.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you got to put more fuel in.
Exactly. Just like a gas tank.
Yeah, exactly. Put in the premium. Organic bacon. Have you ever had duck bacon?
No.
It's so good.
That does sound good.
It's amazing. They have it at Alpine.
Oh, that meat place.
Yeah. I gotta get more. It's been a long time. Rhombus, you're getting too much hair on me. It's sticking. Alright. What else we got? How is moving back east to Cali? Wait. How is moving from back east to Cali?
Moving from back east.
Moving from here to California.
I'm just trying to think of a good answer because I've done this twice.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of already covered it.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know. What about like culture shock? Like it's pretty different. Like,
oh, totally. It's definitely a lot better weather out here for sure. It's a lot better for someone like myself who has ADHD and loves skateboarding. Like it's always sunny. There's not as much rain and snow. There's like no snow out there, so it's very easy. Like when you finally have a random day off, like you can utilize it till its fullest. That and like kind of being more of like a city setting, like in Huntington Beach, Costa Mesa area, there's like everything you want to eat is like all near you. Anything you want to skate is all right near you too. So definitely a lot cooler of a culture in California, I would say. But from the East Coast though, I really love like, I don't know, just like the scenery, like the foliage of like with the leaves changing in the fall and stuff like that is like really awesome. But other than that, I don't like the winters out here. I got tired of like shoveling my car out before work every day. It was really annoying. But family and friends are the biggest things of why I come back to visit out here, I would say. Like visiting people like you, visiting my mom who still lives out here, like my stepdad and friends like Alex and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Gotta make sure you visit visit Skater's Edge. Yeah, visit all the important people and things that keep you going.
And Harrison's.
And Harrison's, yeah. Yeah, gotta get the Harrison's. I didn't go last time I was out here too. I'll have to go before I leave tomorrow.
Yeah, at least some fries. How did you and Scott meet? Scott from Dynamic?
Me and Scott. I've probably like met him at a rendezvous. But what's funny was he moved to California as soon as I was moving back the first time. Like, like the very next event I missed, he like just moved out there and started going out there. I'm like, oh my god, like it'd be so cool to like hang out with this guy more often too, because Scott's like a very big innovator of the scene. Like he does so much like for the California fingerboard scene and just the fingerboard scene in general, like with all of his products and just constantly good customer service and making sure everything's going positive. But yeah, and then I met him when I moved back out here again, basically. Or I probably talked to him at like a rendezvous before. But I think I probably did, where I was like, I literally like just missed you. Like,
Yeah.
like I live out here now. I'm like, well, I'll move back out there one day.
Whose fingerboard styles do you admire? Both people you have seshed with and people you haven't met.
That was the one where I kind of brought into where I talked about Elias's. Scott has a really good style too, since we're talking about him. He's like insanely good.
Yeah.
Just like super realistic, like such good like flicks into like everything too. Consistency levels like almost unmatched. Like he's really good. I like your style a lot too. Like it's like very like fun. Like you do like crazy technical stuff too. Like very consistent as well too. Just like the fact of just like landing like constant stuff after stuff and just like coming up with an idea and doing it super quick is like motivating. It's like, dang, like I want to do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. What else we got?
It's a lot of questions.
Oh, this is a cool one. Yeah, dude, you're popular. There's a bunch more.
It's just people online today or something.
How he keeps his authenticity and core mentality in the current climate of trends, hype, Instagram, etc.
Holy crap, that's a good question.
It's a great question.
I don't know. I just feel like my passions are just so rooted into myself. So I feel like if I was falling away from it, I would just be jumping towards doing trends like for money for, I don't know, just like based off certain graphics I might not like or certain things like that. Or I don't know. Or oh yeah, but we never touched on the 55 fingerboards too, but like say something like that too. Like that's something that had like a very high and popular demand, but it's not something I enjoy doing. It's like it's something if I pursued, I feel like I was going to only be making boards that big, and that's not what I like to do.
Yeah, it is more important to do what you want to do, especially with your creative energy, than to like do what people expect of you or something.
Yeah.
And you can obviously do a little bit of both, but you have to get the ratio right where you're having fun and you're not killing it for yourself. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, if you feel like doing 55s once in a while, like we should definitely do that. But it's more of like, if that's not your thing, you shouldn't be doing that all the time. You know,
Yeah.
do it once in a while for fun, and then it will be fun because it's like, oh, I'm doing this goofy thing again.
Exactly,
And not
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, day number 300 of making these circles. I don't want to do
Yeah.
it. You know.
These
So-
giant egg-shaped boards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they are super fun. But yeah, you have to do just what you want to do, what
Yeah.
you think of, and what feels good.
Exactly. Like that's something where like they're cool and all, but like you said, it's best to kind of do them in moderation because like that's something if it's something is expected out of me, then like I'd burn myself out pretty easily. I feel like
Right.
I'd lose my core authenticity.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good question and a good answer. Biggest regret.
The 55s.
Really?
No, all right. I think we touched on that with not starting the website too early. That's kind
Yeah.
of just like a joke answer too, but also kind of true at the same time too. Should we dig into that really quick? How the 55s came about?
Yeah, let's do it.
So basically, there was after one store session, someone from Connecticut. I think they had like their company was called like Treehouse Fingerboards or something like that. But they gave you like a molded deck, but they just took it straight out of the mold. They cut the veneer super duper wide.
Oh yeah, dude, I
like
remember
60
this
plus
now.
millimeters wide at least.
Yeah, it was so big for
Yeah.
like no reason. It wasn't intended to be a wide board.
Exactly. Yeah.
They just molded really wide pieces of wood.
Yeah, and they just like and they wanted you to kind of like shape it into something like small, and you were like, no, like I just want to shape this whole thing as it is like that.
Yeah.
So you made this board that was like roughly around like 55 millimeters. Then we were having fun using it. Scott helped you like make the trucks for it as like a
Yeah.
fun April Fool's joke. But then after that, you told me to like make you one. So like I molded one, put the Microvise Windows graphic over it, and then you made the video, and then bam, over the weekend it was like over 100,000 views.
Yeah, so insane that it
And
got that many views.
My DMs were flooded. And,
There it is.
Yeah, it was
The
insane.
original 55. It's basically a circle. So good.
Yeah, these are them. This is the original one. It's funny too. I was just looking at this. I feel like the bottom ply on this too it doesn't even go all the way to. It's like the veneer never went like all the way there.
Oh,
Yeah.
what?
I never even noticed that.
I never
until now.
noticed that.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
but it doesn't stop the performance though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these were like kind of
Whoa.
like the more modernish ones. Oh, no,
I
this-
guess the graphic was over
Yeah.
it.
So this was the mold that that one I was just using my regular molds, and then you can see the mold marks in it from where it reaches past the 38 millimeter mark
Yeah.
line where it goes. Then I got this other mold, which funny story with this too. I was just looking on eBay one day, and like someone had a 55 millimeter mold, and it was literally
Whoa.
based off my own shape.
No
And they were
way.
selling it, so I'm like, well, I'll just buy this. It was like $50 or something. Like
That's crazy. So they based it off this guy?
I think my regular molds, but it's very extreme though. Like it's more, or
Yeah.
maybe it is kind of like that. I don't know. This was what it wound up looking like.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's similar. It's just like a better version, and it's steeper.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, the biggest thing
Oh,
what
it's
I liked about it
close.
was
It's
it was-
really close.
Yeah, it was pretty close, and there's no mold marks on it.
yeah. So the concave doesn't
Yeah,
like.
I wound up like
stop.
kind of cracking the mold a little bit because it was like 3D printed, so I like reinforced it a bit with
Nice.
wooden stuff and. But yeah, it's still a little wonky to do it. I don't have a good template for it too, so they're very tedious to make. So when I spend like 2 or 3 days out of the week, if that, working on stuff, like it's not always a top priority of mine.
Yeah. So good though.
But definitely a very fun thing. Definitely thankful for the attention it brought to it too, but it's not my passion. It's not 55 millimeters. It's usually about 34 millimeters and below.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Or 36 and below. Those ones are pretty cool too.
36 is nuts.
Yeah. It's a little excessive, but I don't think a board should go over 36 millimeters. Unless you're doing like a really wide, like pool shaped board.
Yeah.
You get like 38 to 40 at most or something, but.
The funny thing though is when you use this for a little, it like doesn't feel wide anymore.
Yeah.
And then you go to any other board and it feels like a super thin pencil.
It's almost like a good like training too if you start with that board. Like, you know, like in baseball, like when you're warming up, you'll put the donut on the bat, you'll add like a little bit more weight so like you're getting your swing down and everything. It's almost like this, like practice like your kickflips and your nollie heels before you start for the day.
Yeah.
And then your fingers are so used to flicking so much harder when you go back to your 32 millimeter board, it just flicks so well.
This thing is so
So
crazy.
you could call it a donut.
Yeah.
Dang, this thing
Put a
should've-
hole in the middle.
It should have been called the donut.
Let's do a donut graphic.
Oh man, I
Like,
could do that.
and then drill a circle through it.
Oh, dang,
Maybe.
the last time people drilled in the center like that was when the fidget spinners were really big, and some people were putting bearings in the center of the boards and just like,
I'm so glad I didn't see that.
yeah.
That's crazy. That's funny. I like it.
Talk about ADHD.
Yeah. You got to do everything.
Yeah.
What Pokemon would be a sick skater?
What Pokemon would be a good skater?
Mew.
Mew would be
Yeah.
good. Maybe Mr. Mime.
Mr. Mime, is that a newer one?
Nah, he was in the original 150. He's the.
Oh, really?
He's like the mime, or I don't know. He can like create like walls and stuff like that too.
Oh, yeah. He's like kind of like roundy, like
Yeah.
constructed.
Imagine Mr. Mime's skating a busty skate spot in downtown LA. Security guard's about to come. Bam. Invisible barrier.
Oh,
How's all the
he
time?
really is
Yeah.
creative. That's a great answer.
Interesting.
That's
yeah.
amazing. I love it. Somebody needs to like animate that.
I know, right? I was thinking of like some sort of like ninja, like this new Pokemon Greninja, but then I'm like, Mr. Mime probably be better because he's like abilities.
Yeah, I love
And
that.
he actually has feet too, unlike a lot of other Pokemon.
That's great. All right. How did you end up with the deck on display at the 9 Club? Was stoked to see that.
Whoa. That's cool someone noticed that too. I was really enjoying watching the 9 Club. I just really like podcasts, which I'm really thankful to be on this one too because of that. But I really enjoyed watching the 9 Club. I was doing it a lot especially when I first started working for Vans, because I just had to start stretching myself a lot to try and move up. And one of those things I was doing was I was hosting like a weekly conference call on Fridays. So it was like our rally call to get the teams like hyped for the weekend and whatnot. So I was doing that for like about like 9 months. But the 9 Club of like how they were conversing and keeping conversations going helped me a lot too. So I really liked it for that and to learn more about skateboarding because that's all I really care about, honestly, to an extent. But I decided to just make a 9 Club board for fun. One of my friends was almost about to be on it to be like on the experience show. So I was like, oh yeah, like I'll make you it. You can like hand it off to him. They wound up like falling through though, and I still had the board. And I'm like, let me just try and find an address I can mail it to him. I don't know how I got it, but I wound up finding it, or maybe they had like a fan mail address, but I would just wound up sending it. They actually wound up like not only like opening it, but like Roger like never really posted anything on his story, but he like posted like that he received it. He's like, oh, Devise fingerboards, thank you. I'm like, whoa, like they got it.
Whoa.
And then I was watching Ian's episode from Jenka Mag, and then I saw it in the background. So like I could tell by like everything. I'm like, oh my god, like they put it on the shelf. Like
That's
I
cool.
was blown away. But it was on there for like 3 episodes or so. I was like, holy crap.
That's amazing.
I feel like I feel like there was a time where they were kind of going through a lot of their stuff and like giving it away and stuff like that too. And like they either probably still have it or they might have like given it away in like one of like the raffles or something as like an extra. So it's in good hands somewhere.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but if you like something, like if you're a fan of them, like just send it to someone. If you can find their address, they might like it. They
Yeah,
might even
send
post
me
about it.
a lot of things and we'll just pile them on the couch here in the
Yeah.
corner.
I know, right? I start putting shelves in the wall back here, and people can like send in like drawings. Or...
Yeah, I get a lot of drawings actually. Some of them
Really?
are pretty cool.
Oh wow.
Some of them are up at the rendezvous, like on the walls and stuff.
I think I saw those last time.
But
yeah,
I have a bunch I need to hang up.
that's cool. I've never had someone send me a drawing.
Not
Someone
yet.
send me a drawing.
Yeah, exactly. Ryan Bernier, I have no questions for a stupid American.
Dang. That was our inside joke when we went to Canada one year.
Oh, that's so good.
We were just like assumed that like people like, or I mean not intentionally, we're just kind of just having fun with it. Like maybe like people don't like us because we're Americans. Like, oh, you stupid Americans! Like, you don't know how to speak French, or you don't know where this is. Like, or
Oh, that's
it's like
great.
kind of getting in our own heads and having fun with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just kept saying that like all weekend long. It was like me, Ryan, and Jay.
Amazing.
That was fun.
New deck shapes and sizes, question mark.
New deck shape and sizes. Not a new shape exactly, but later on this year I am trying to bring back the classic molds where it was originally made 32 millimeters. I'm trying to get the mold made and in more quantities up to 38 so I can do the classic mold in sizes 33, 34, 36 if I wanted to. But
Cool.
I feel like that'd be a good thing to add to because like one goes back to like the origin of Devise, but also too it offers a new shape where if you don't necessarily like high kicks, this one's medium kicks, so it's a little bit more of a little more for everybody. Because some people like my brand, but they don't want to like really like ride my boards because it's not like their shape preference. Some people like really low kicks, some people just like a standard medium, but whatnot. But yeah.
Yeah, I like them. I like steep boards.
Same.
I feel like
Yeah.
it makes the difficulty way less. Like it's so easy to do any
Yeah.
trick you set your mind to.
But some people don't like that, but to an extent, like I think fingerboarding is all about having fun. So like,
Yeah, exactly.
if you can't have fun with your setup, I don't know. I feel like you're just not gonna fingerboard.
Yeah. I mean, I like it to look like skateboarding to a degree, but there's also the angle where it's like, all right, if it's easier to use this board than that board and it feels better because I don't have to try so hard and I can do better tricks, it's totally worth it to use a steeper board.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's how I do a lot of my crazy combos. Like I can do them on mellower boards, but it takes twice as long. So it's like you want to find the fingerboard that works for your style, your tricks, and your hands. Like everyone has different
And for
everything.
and for your patience level.
Yeah.
That's for me.
Yeah. I mean, there's some fingerboards that like.
You got to get the reward of landing it. If you keep going to battle and you never get that reward of landing it, like, I don't know, you might just lose motivation.
I use certain people's setups and I'm like, you would be better if you didn't have this board.
I know, right?
And sometimes they're like, yeah, I know. And other times they're like, oh, really? Let me try. And then like you show them and they're like, oh, I didn't even realize like my setup was holding me back.
That's right.
But some people like it. They like the challenge and the feeling of like trucks that are so floppy with no bushings and mellow and like bad grip tape or whatever it is, because it's like you can get those lower tricks that you barely landed and they look stylish.
And it's rewarding to them because like, they get it and it looks really, really good, and that's a huge plus too.
Exactly. So it's like it's not even a bad thing. It's just a different approach.
Yeah. Exactly. Do fingerboarding your way.
Yep.
What works for you? What makes you happy?
If you like boards that suck, use them.
If you like boards with really long noses and tails and weird wheelbases that don't match them, like, if you like it, just use it.
Yeah, whatever you have fun with. Last question. Can he give an tip for improving my skill?
And tip on improving skill.
Capital T on the tip.
Consistency, I would say. Just doing it. Like when I was like struggling with tricks like nollie heels and stuff, like I still struggle with them to this day, but like once I figured out how to like land them, like maybe 1 out of 10 or 20 tries, I try to like add it to my daily routine of like, okay, like do all your tricks, try and land at least like 1 nollie or switch heel like that day. That way it doesn't like go away forever. Same thing with like nollie and switch trays. I struggled with those for a while too. Now like those are some of my favorite tricks to do because I'm like, oh, I finally figured out that sweet spot in the pocket, and like now it looks so good. Like how to like do it in and out of stuff. Like, so yeah, definitely just consistent. Like, don't get down yourself. Maybe try a new setup. Maybe your kicks aren't high enough, or maybe like your board's kind of like worn down, or your tape's getting too dull, or needs to be cleaned, or something like that, or the bearings in your wheels are dying. But maybe try like mixing up your setup or mix up the obstacle or the area you're trying stuff on as well too.
Yeah, those are all great tips.
It can also help too with like the height of stuff you're on too. Like sometimes it might be easier if you're standing up on like a tall table or maybe not a short table, but
Well,
we're sitting down.
Different
The
tricks
desk
at
can
different
help,
heights too. There's
Yeah.
certain, if you want to do like backside 360 kickflip to a grind and it's like lower than you, it's so much easier.
Oh, yeah,
like
that's true.
almost too low, but it's like
Yeah.
certain tricks you want
If
to
it's
do
too
from
high,
above.
then you're not gonna be able to catch that
Yeah.
reach out.
And
Yeah.
then other tricks like might be easier if it's kind of higher, like, or if you're on the edge of the table versus in the middle, like for switch stuff, it's like way easier on
that's
the
true.
edge. So, yeah, there's like so many variables you can switch up.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, I think that concludes our episode. We got through all the questions from the user submissions. Yeah, this was a blast. Thank you for coming.
Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor to be on here. I saw you were doing a podcast, and I'm like, dang, like, well, maybe I can get an episode one day or something. And you text me like 2 hours later. I'm like, oh my god, yes. Like,
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
in.
waste any time.
Yeah.
I was like, Stefan's got to get on. It'll be such a good one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we covered a lot of really cool stuff.
Totally.
This was awesome. Thanks for coming.
And there's no better way to end it than, well, see you later.